uh, had just committed the civil act, or was being sued for the civil act. What I couldn't wrap my mind around is Gervonta Tank Davis is known for his outside of the ring antics, such as wrecking a pregnant lady and running. His character has always been a little shaky. So for Jake Paul to pull out of the fight and tweet that he would never associate anybody that's a woman beater and stuff, it's like, bro, are you serious? Gervonta Tank Davis had charges before the fight even happened. Now you're pulling out on a moral stance? Absolutely not. I'm not buying it.
I'm thinking that he probably asked Tank to sign a contract to not throw a certain amount of punches, and then Tank's like, "No, I ain't doing that." So yeah, that's probably what happened.
You know what I personally think? I think that Gervonta Tank Davis and Tank, as it was getting towards the nitty gritty, I think Jake Paul started to get a little bit more fearful, and I think they started to realize that they didn't get the public perception that they thought they was going to get from the world, and people were calling it a gimmick. And if Jake Paul really won, he wouldn't get any credit, and they wasn't able to sell it because they kept trying to sell the narrative of, Jake Paul was like, you got a lot more experience than me, but like, bro, you outweigh this guy by a whole bunch of, like, stop it. And I think
how can you win an exhibition?
That too. Brother BVO,
man.
Hold on. Let me give Angie a shout. I was going to say, this is the most quiet I'd never heard you, brother. You sick? What's good?
I thought you were going to bring me in. I forgot you ain't got no class. I thought you were going to bring me in.
We ain't got no class over here. This is the more Dallas show. Jerry Springer, but
hey, salute to Angie, baby. Always showing love. Salute to everybody in the chat. I can't see who my brother is with the Anthony Davis face, but salute to you too. I think this fight is a little bit of both. I don't know if you guys believe in self-sabotage, but I think Tank is kind of engaged in that. I don't think he really wants to fight. To put himself in that position, that just lets you know, and that's not me judging. I don't want people to think I'm judging the guy. I just think that he's not in the right headspace, and he keeps saying it. I don't know what it's going to take for us to believe what he says. He doesn't want to fight anymore, and this is just another example of it, because why would you get into a situation when you're about to make the biggest money of your career? And we all know in boxing, and I've been kind of privy to this now, shout out to Team Hackett, BVO is a part of Team Hackett, so I'm learning that it might take him 4 or 5 fights to get that kind of money. So why would you mess up something you can get in 4 or 5 fights in one night without really having to fight nobody? I just think it's crazy, because I love Jake Paul. He's from Cleveland, but he's been accused of some heinous stuff. I mean, he's not perfect. Some young lady said he put her on timeout and wouldn't let her leave, and we heard about him forcing himself on women. We heard about him saying lewd and crude things to women. So it's real funny that when Tank does this, he gets vilified and stuff. And I'm not defending Tank. I'm just saying this. The brother needs help, and he's been saying he needs help. So there's no need to keep beating him about it. He just need to get some serious help. And one thing I'll tell you, I know, and this is what I'm finding out about YouTube. You got a lot of Eddie Winslows trying to tell guys who actually come from the inner city how to do things. People who had both their parents, who had a good, who's, like, as my man Eminem said, parents had a great marriage, and they had granddaddy and grandma. For some of us who didn't have that in that unique sense, I had my grandma, thank God, and my grandfather, but
hey,
it's tough. It's tough to make these decisions on the fly. It's just very tough to make the right decision. It's tough to know what the right decision is.
Hey, you can't use
a lot of these young guys don't have the understanding that you can't hit a woman. Why? Because you don't know what that can affect your whole life. It could change your whole life. One hit, one whatever. People don't understand. 15 seconds can change your life.
Yeah.
You can hit a woman, she could fall, bump her head, and never wake up again. And then you in there for life. So it's just, we got to be honest, man. At some point, Tank got to make better decisions, man. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, but you can't use Eddie Winslow, because I don't think nobody wants to be Eddie Winslow today.
No, I only say that
Yeah,
because
I
I
know
hear
what
a
you saying. I
lot
know
of
what you're saying. I know you
I hear a
saying.
lot of these
Yeah, I
and
know
this
what
is
you're
for me
saying.
being
Yeah.
on YouTube. I've been doing it 3 years now. And I just hear a lot of these like weirdo niggas trying to judge niggas from the hood. Now, see, I'm from the
Yeah.
projects. That's the hood within the hood. So we the people that's on WIC food stamps. We the people going to free lunch in the summer. We the people getting food from the community center when they got community center. We the people who done went to 2 and 3 pantries to get food. And it's like, I hate to hear these niggas who be talking about, well, you guys committed crimes. You guys are this. It's like, you wouldn't say it in my face. So why are you saying it now? Just like when I hear people say, "Oh, Tank is this tough guy," I'm from the hood. Ain't no 5'4" nigga doing nothing but getting beat to death. This is that
unless
simple.
unless he got influence, then
No,
he got a
no,
little.
and unless he got a hammer, unless he got
Yeah,
something to
those
keep
are the
off
stick
But
of.
like
up kids. Them 5'4"
Supreme wasn't
guys,
that tall.
man.
You come on, Scholar, and let's just be honest. If a
Mhm.
5'4" man step to and say, "Hey, Scholar,
I
I'm gonna
get
put,"
what you're saying, but you're not listening to what I'm saying, BBO. I
go ahead.
said I 100% agree with you, but there is certain circumstances where a guy like a Jay Prince or Supreme short dudes do have influence, and they can get people to do it for them. But I do agree with you what you're saying. They're
No,
making Tank out to be
I'm
the
talking about
dude.
him in particular. Jay
Tank,
Prince, Supreme are highly intelligent. I wouldn't put, and I'm not trying to cast aspersion against the brother. I wouldn't put him in that same class.
agreed,
If you're
agreed.
saying a thinker who can manipulate people to do things can have power, yes, Tank's not that guy. Tank is a nigga like was like a lot of niggas I played football with. He could barely read and write, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
I
That's
wouldn't go
okay.
that far, but
No,
he
no,
does
no,
not
Scholar,
seem like
because we
an
don't keep it
intelligent
real.
individual.
Niggas cannot read and write. Let's just call it what it is. I've been to jail. I've been to jail and seen niggas in the youth authority who can barely write their freaking name, who can barely read a letter from home. I'm just being real. I had a guy on my podcast read out a book and he said he didn't know what a word said and skip right over it. What? So you can play, we can play the games we want to. Niggas don't. If it wasn't true, why is the literacy rate so bad in America now? That's the worst it's been in 50
No,
years.
no, BBO. I agree with what you're saying. This is the only like where we might be like we're missing each other. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying that Tank does not appear to be a highly intelligent person, especially
Right.
based on the literacy test. If this was
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, he wouldn't be able to vote. But I don't know. I don't have enough evidence. I've never seen him. There's some people who look kind of slow and they might. I don't know. Maybe he survived. I don't know. What you say tends to normally be true in these situations, especially coming from where he comes from. But I just have a different spin on it. This is my spin on this, BBO. I
Mm-hmm.
think that for Javante Tank Davis to be exactly who we've always said he was on YouTube, you hear throughout when he had
Mm-hmm.
the wrecking the pregnant woman and taking off running, all that stuff, right? The comparison I always give to him is like the Allen Iverson of the NBA. You know how they treated Allen Iverson like this cool punk criminal outlaw
Mm-hmm.
rebel that with the sleeves and the tattoo.
Right.
That's how they
Right.
market it Tank right now, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
look at it like this: if that's who you signed to fight because of his popularity, because he's popular for being Tank, then why would you end the fight because of him being Tank? Now, different things, right? Now, this is civil, not criminal. Now, if this was criminal, right, I would understand, like, hey man, I don't want nothing to do with this. But it's civil, meaning she wants money. She's suing for money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the burden of proof is different now because it's civil. I just don't understand how they wash their hands. And you know what it kind of reminds me of? When Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis had their press conference, and Mike Tyson bit Lennox Lewis in Vegas, like, this is it. We don't want anything to do. It's like, you're Vegas. You had mafia controlled boxing at one point. You had people taking diet. Like, what are you talking about? You're Vegas. Like, where does it remind me of the grandma with the bonnet. You know what I mean? That got one hand on her robe with her nose in the air. It's like, come on, man. Boxing ain't got no moral ground to stand up. It just seemed highly suspicious to me that they would cancel a fight. Now, mind you, we're in a sport that let a person box that had a brain aneurysm 2 weeks before. This is the sport that we're talking about, and they just some civil allegations. They was like, oh, I'm at wit's end with this one. My integrity will not allow me to do it. That's why I'm a little suspicious. Like, what?
And I'm gonna say something that might be a little controversial, but I'll say this. That's the thing that happens when you see white people play nigga games. You expect them to do things that we would do. Be forgiving. What Jake Paul did is what you've always seen a lot of white people in his position do. All of a sudden, now he's white again. I don't want to be involved in this. What? It's okay when it benefits you, but the moment you get a piece of bad press, now all of a sudden you throwing Javante to the wayside. So that just goes to show you how disingenuous Jake really is. And I don't blame him for it. It's been like that for a number of people. And I'm going to say this, and this is going to be very controversial, unfortunately, but that's why a lot of people don't trust him, people like Jake Paul, because they flip-flop all the time, whenever it's convenient. The same people who praised Mike Tyson called him a rapist. The same people who praised Ali said Ali was arrogant. So it's just about whatever works for them that day. So you can't even get caught up, as my man Johnny Gill said, in that fair weather stuff, man. You can't get caught up in that because it's not real. And what Jake did, look at the stuff Jake has done. And I'll be honest, I've been a Jake apologist because shout out to Jake, shout out to his man Sean. They actually helped me. I'm finishing up something with Prize Picks, and that's because of them. Because they seen me doing my thing. I'm repping Cleveland. They said, we want to help you. So I'm not trying to say he's not a good dude. I'm just saying that he's playing white when it's convenient. And this is something I would say to anybody. That's what a lot of people do. They play white when it's convenient. All of a sudden now he's so appalled by Tank. Tank's been a monster.
I disagree with that. I think they scapegoating. I think that they're using this as a scapegoat to why they didn't want the fight. Like Frank said, maybe the live gate wasn't doing good as far as sales, but it's in Atlanta. Like, how many fights has Atlanta been known for, like, huge fights? Like, it's in Atlanta of all places because they couldn't even find somebody that could sanction the bout. Because
it was in Miami. Remember, it wasn't in Miami. It wasn't in Atlanta no more. It was in Miami.
Oh, they moved it to Miami?
Yeah, it's a lot of things to do in Miami.
That they keep a good sign of the fight is struggling when they keep switching venues and locations and trying to having difficulty.
The Georgia State Athletic Commission wouldn't approve the fight. That's why that happened. So it wasn't a choice they made. The athletic commissioner, shout out to my man Crown Jewel, he actually got us a direct quote from him. He said that he could not support the matchups on the card because of the weight difference. And at his discretion, he decided to cancel the event. And Jake and them kind of just say, we're going to go to Miami and do the fight. And to sell tickets in Miami is very hard to do because there's so much to do. You're talking about the land of milk and honey. It's like trying to sell something in Houston. You from San Antonio, you've been in Houston.
Well, that makes perfect sense. To me.
It's hard to sell tickets in Miami.
That makes perfect sense to me.
It's hard. Hey, it's hard to do anything. You think the Houston Rocket games be sold out? Hell no. It's too much to do. It's too much to do, man.
That's a different thing. Because the Super Bowl.
What I'm saying is the city has so much to offer. You really got to have a solid product for them to spend their money on.
Like the NFL, but I agree. But this is what I was going to say. That makes sense to me now that you said that, because they probably were having a hard time selling a live gate, and that's where the promoter makes their money back. They make it on live gate because they're not going to make it on Netflix viewerships. The viewership's going to be what they is. It is what it is. There's going to be a lot of viewers on Netflix now, no doubt about that. But they're not going to particularly make money off of that.
But that's like YouTube with us. That doesn't always equate to dollars. You can have a video do 40,000 views, and you might be getting $50.
Yeah, I agree. And the live gate was struggling, so they needed a reason to cancel it. And this was a perfect opportunity. Javante Tank Davis silver charges get trumped up, and they're like, you know what? Hey, nope, we can't do this. Let's put on our integrity hats because with Javante Tank Davis,
the big black nigga didn't do right.
So yeah, that makes perfect sense.
The big black nigga did something wrong. Get his leash. That's kind of how it goes, man. That's kind of how it goes. It's just like when you think about I didn't even notice until actually, and that's the cool thing. I've been getting a chance to get behind the scenes. Do you know that when they did the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight, the Gay had already had $2 million in pre-sales? That's unheard of in boxing. They had a $2 million pre-sales and seats in the house already before the fight even was gone.
Of course.
So whoever came and got a ticket that day, they was coming to full houses. Because I think people don't notice if Mike Tyson was fighting now, he would fight only in arenas.
Yeah, that's because a lot of.
I didn't realize he was that big. I didn't realize he was still that big either. I'll tell you that. I didn't realize he was that big still.
Yeah,
a lot
man,
of
Mike is huge.
Huh?
Say it again.
I said Mike is huge. Yeah, Mike is still huge.
No, but I'm talking about you talking about a 60-year-old man. I didn't think the nigga
Yeah,
was
I
that
know,
big
but Mike
anymore.
is still. Look, man, my mom has not been hyped for a fight. My mom's about 70 years old, and my mom was calling
Right.
me about the fight because you remember, because we used to watch Tyson in the 80s and 90s. So my mom was hyping this fight, and I told her, like, look, Mike is about 60 years old. Like, don't get too hyped for this fight. But that's how much people were hyped over this.
You are right. I went to the 7-Eleven, and even the niggas in the back, the niggas selling the slushies in the back was like, who you got winning that fight? I'm thinking, and it's rare, especially maybe because I do so much YouTube. I don't never hear people in real life ask me about boxing. If they do, they want somebody like they like Muhammad Ali, something like that. But he was like, who you think gonna win? Jake Paul or Iron Mike? And it was just like the joy he had on his face was like, damn, Mike is that guy still. And that's what I mean when I say I can't believe that nigga that old could sell $2 million worth of seats. Floyd can't do that now. That's what I'm saying. That's crazy when you think about that. That's crazy. That's crazy. $2 million of pre-sale. Hey, we didn't made our money back already, Scholar. We already made our money back.
But I mean, you know, he's privileged. He's privileged. He comes from that trio of Mikes. Like if Michael Jackson was touring right now, he could sell out pack arenas. If Michael Jordan said he wanted to do a one-on-one with LeBron James, that's gonna be sold out, no matter what Michael Jordan's age is. It's just something about the mics, bro. Like they came at the perfect time of marketing, and then they had the perfect skill set where they were really, really dominant of their time, and nobody has never let that go. They were showing Mike Tyson clips before the Jake Paul fight of him doing stuff at 20 years old. And I'm like, why are they showing this? He's not going to be nowhere near this, but they know that in everybody's imagination, he's still that Mike Tyson. So they were marketing that Mike Tyson, and it worked. It worked, man. You had people so disappointed when he couldn't be the dude he was when he was 20.
Yeah. Hey, it's just like me when I hear that song. Sometimes I dream he is me. Like I remember hearing that as a little kid, and I still know the words, man. Like you said, the 3 mics. I forgot about the 3 mics, man. I love Michael Jordan. I'm a football nigga. I love Michael Jordan. Yep. It's wild, man. I couldn't even tell you why, man. Like I started being a Jordan fan. I couldn't even tell you why. I just remember always seeing him.
Domination. People like to see dominant people. And you know what? Another thing people work, and I learned this just from YouTube preparation. People like to see somebody that's really good at what they do and people that put the work in. If you do those two things, you'll make it in no matter what. If it's throwing rocks at a telephone pole, a pickleball, whatever the case it may be, you put them things right there, preparation and be good at what you're doing, the people will notice the final product and they'll show up and they'll clamor around you. And that's why Michael Jordan, besides the skill, he studied the game of basketball. He knew the ins and outs. He knew he was good with his left hand. He was good with his right hand, regardless of what these stupid Generation Z people were saying. Michael Jordan was that guy. What's good, brother Luke? But yeah, I agree, BBL. You hear that song now, you still be like, damn, man. Like the mics, they still. You know what's really crazy? I'm wondering why Mike Tyson never collabed with Michael Jordan. Well, I know why. I know why
too. Robin Givens.
Okay, so yes. Okay, what did you hear out positive? I heard something different.
Well, I got, I'm the book guy, man. So if someone writes a book about anything, I'm currently reading the Lionel Richie book right now. I was a big Lionel Richie fan back then. So Rory Holloway wrote a book. We all know who Rory Holloway is on this panel. He's Mike Tyson's former friend, manager. And he tells a story about Mike Tyson confronting Jordan at a restaurant when he was sitting with Dick Butkus. And he confronted him for messing around with. Now he wasn't even married to Robin at this time. He confronted him for messing around with Robin Givens at a restaurant, and the fight was about to happen before people jump between them. So I'm like, yo, why was Mike trying to stake claim or ownership on Robin Givens after they divorced? That's crazy.
I get with that type of girl and then be mad that she that type of girl. That I've never understood that. I've never understood that out of especially male athletes that have a plethora of women that they what it be like Muhammad Ali when it comes to that,
Yeah, man. Well, what was your take?
That's insane. But yeah, I heard that same. I heard also Mike Tyson confronted what you call it? What's that dude name? Wesley Snipes about what's that model's name? Naomi Campbell.
Naomi Campbell, yeah. Yeah, Mike was like, look, yo, man, what is up with these? And I love Mike, man. I like Mike, man. But what is up with these guys, man? Having side pieces, but mad someone's messing with their side pieces. If they're a side piece of you, they're a side piece of somebody else.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
crazy.
Yo, all positive. I got your favorite topic today to talk about. We're gonna get right into it. So, when the fight was canceled, Francis Ngannou said he received a call, and this would let me know that Jake Paul is one of the best promoters of all time. This right here lets me know that. There's no way he wanted that fight. There's no way possible.
Francis, we see your name popping up as a potential replacement for Gervonta Davis. We had to go right to the source. What can you tell us? Is there any possibility that Francis Ngannou will step in for Gervonta Davis and fight Jake Paul?
No, there's no such of thing happening. Basically, like how can they go from like Gervonta Davis to Francis Ngannou? Like, I mean, Gervonta Davis is a fantastic boxer, but and is a one shot.
You ain't got to go into details. We get it, Francis. Oh, I do. You're saying, how the hell you gonna go to a 135-pounder to a guy who knocked down Tyson Fury, a 6'9" guy? Like, basically, y'all not serious about the offer, which I don't think Francis would. Well, no, he definitely was interested, because why wouldn't he? He went to go get knocked out by
Joshua.
Anthony Joshua. So he definitely interested in the fight. He just was like,
he probably lowballed.
He don't think it's serious.
He probably lowballed him on the offer.
Nah, because he ain't got nowhere to go. He don't want to go back to UFC. He making his boxing money.
He's definitely not going
Muhammad
back.
Ali acted.
He's not going back to UFC at all. I can guarantee you that. He'll fight in the other federations.
Bellator.
He's definitely never go back to UFC.
Yes, he'll never go. But the money that he's made is so good now, and he done been spoiled by boxing with, like I said, with the Muhammad Ali Act, that I don't see them lowballing him. I think he'll take it for $500,000, because he wasn't even making that in the UFC for a championship fight.
No, I told you Ronda Rousey at her height was making $100,000.
I don't think Francis Ngannou was
I
money.
mean, I'll say this about Francis. You got to keep in mind what people don't notice about Francis. Francis is an actual promoter. Francis got his promoter's license. I noticed because I actually was looking into his story. Recently, he got his promoter's license, because you know what happens is there's a lot of fake promoting in boxing, where you'll see DHP partner up with a local outfit, and they'll do what they call a co-promotion. When you're a co-promotion and you talk about smaller people working with them, that's because they don't have necessary licenses to do their thing like they want to. Like you see in the Denny Swift Garcia card, they said, oh, it wasn't the best, but Denny owned a piece of the network, and he actually was the real promoter of that event. And it wasn't just a name only. So I know that Francis, like you just said, that's just a good point, Scholar. He probably wants to make sure it's a good enough offer for make sure he can get out of his bed, because there's only so much money you're going to need anyway at his age. Francis is about our age, so he's older. So it's got to be something worth it for him to put his house shoes on. It take a lot to leave your piece when you're a millionaire. I think people don't understand that as well. This isn't a guy hurting for money. This ain't a guy. Mike was hurting for money. Yeah. People don't realize Mike is 60 years old. He probably was hemorrhaging money because he don't have a lot coming in. He stopped doing his podcast, which was super lucrative. He stopped doing a lot of different things, so he probably needed that money. Well, Francis is coming from a position of power, which you want to come from, where if I come out my bed, you got to make sure the offer's right. And we talking about a 20 million, 25, 30 million guarantee. It can't be I'll come out for 10 million or $1 million. It's not the same Francis anymore, because people don't know that he got his promoter's license. And that's one thing I'm learning too in boxing. So when you see people like DHP, you just see these outfits, all they got is the LLC. They're not really putting on their own events at all. Don't fall for like the trickery and bamboozlery. A lot of these guys are just talking. What Biggie say, niggas talking it but ain't living it. So that's kind of what that you're seeing. So you got to really give Francis some money. So to say $500,000, that's laughable. I know some fighters right now that's out the amateurs that's getting that. You know what I'm saying? So you know,
Yo,
you got to get Francis
shout
his
out
money.
shout out to Frank Rice. He said, I forgot Robert Gibbons was allegedly sleeping with Donald Trump. That was a good connection that I actually missed. So thank you, Frank, for that. But he said that also Francis Ngannou was gonna do not cross promotion, bare knuckle. Hey, that actually is a good fit for Francis Ngannou. With his power and his brute strength, bare knuckle, I think he would dominate. I don't think there's a man on the planet that could beat him in bare knuckle.
I think that should be banned, though, Scholar. I mean, when I seen Paulie's face ripped up like that, it kind of wasn't funny. It kind of, for me, as somebody who loved the boxers and fighters that we grew up watching, I want to see more guys like I did when I went to the Danny Garcia fight and I seen Andre Roberto with a turtleneck from Kaufman's or Macy's chilling, rich. You don't want to see these guys all beat up, half dead. I just don't. I got a chance to meet James. I got to meet James Toney, and I tell you this, I couldn't understand a word he said. And the thing that'll really trip you out, Scott, is like I got some pictures with Shannon and Cannon Briggs. You should see these guys' faces from fighting. I'm talking about you can see the glove marks. I mean, you'll think the niggas was in a car crash. So it's tough,
so what
man.
you
It's
got to do
tough.
with bare knuckles? So you're making an argument, BBO, why we shouldn't have boxing.
No, I'm saying why we shouldn't have bare knuckle. Why we shouldn't have bare knuckle. So
No, I
the
think
gloves do that
honestly,
to your face.
I think bare knuckle is nothing more than a primitive form of boxing. That's what boxing was before it evolved into the rules of
but I'm saying there's a reason why we protect our hands now too. Is all I'm saying.
But
I ain't saying you gotta
the
agree
glove
with me.
was
I'm just
to
giving you my
protect the
opinion.
hand to do
I'm
more
not saying you
damage.
gotta agree.
Not
Say
to
it again?
protect the face. Like they wanted, the reason why they wrapped their hands and then put the boxing glove over it is because they wanted the hands not to break on the skull so that they could do more damage. It had nothing to do with protecting the fighters.
Oh, of course not.
You do more damage with the bigger the glove, you do more damage because you're able to take more punishment.
And you can't see the scars. I would rather see that stuff is misleading. What Paulie's face is, because Paulie's face look gruesome and all this other stuff, but people are gonna throw less punches when it's bare knuckles because they might actually break their hands, and people are gonna take less damage in bare knuckle, even though the appearance to be. See, we look at the scars like what Paulie had, but we can't see the scars that Muhammad Ali had, that James Toney had, that you just mentioned. So I disagree. Fighting is fighting. You know what I mean? As long as they pay those bare knuckle people what they're supposed to get and not take all the money, because that's what the argument is always. The people who don't get in the ring, the mice, want to run the lines and take all the money. And I don't think that should exist in the sport. But if they paid Paulie pretty handsomely, according to him. I don't know. He could be capping, but if I'm taking him at face value, they paid him pretty well for that fight. And I mean, I like it. I ain't gonna lie to you, BB. I wasn't the hugest fan of it. I just like fighting. But I watched one of the fights one time. I don't even know the names. This is how unfamiliar I am with the sport. I was just bored one day. I turned the TV and I flipped it on there, and it was I think it was 6 or 7 knockdowns in the first round between the two fighters, and I was like, man, this is like George Foreman versus Ron Lyle, and these are two unknown named guys. And you know what's really crazy? Remember Roger Mayweather was like, most people like Rocky because they believe in some bullshit. Like that was the real life Rocky stuff where they were just beating the hell out of each other for 1 or 2 or 3 rounds. You know what I mean? And then the winner became victorious. You got to see everything. You got to see everything what you would see over maybe a 6 or 7 round fight in the course of 2 to 3 minutes. And you know, we live in a age that needed immediate gratification. So I just thought that was good for the sport. I even said that if boxing ever did an event, if I was ever promoted, let's say I raved up Magic Wand, BVO, I would get rid of the podcast stuff in the middle, and I would try to do a hybrid where it was bare knuckle early on and then real boxing later on. Because that bare knuckle, the chances of it ending in a knockout is highly, highly likely. And UFC markets their sport off of their knockouts. You can market boxing more off the bare knuckle knockouts on the undercards if they merge with that, because that league's just sitting there. Dana White went and bought a slap league before he bought bare knuckle. That show you how smart he is.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. You know, the cool thing about Scholar, I never get the Scholar when he come to the doghouse. That's crazy. I get he want to call me everything but a child of God, but I come in here respectful, speaking to him with respect. You see, I don't get this from him. But I'll say this. The cool thing about what you're seeing with boxing is you're seeing a shifting. And when I say you're seeing a shifting, some things are going to shake off, and some things are going to work out. I think that's a great idea what you're saying about the bare knuckle. I just think boxing at some point has to understand they have to do a better job of marketing their athletes. And if they're going to be a sport, they got to have some type of organization that they all can report to, because what we're doing now is not working. And people got to remember, the boxing that we've seen that was so successful had a lot of mob control, had a lot of other outside entities going on. It wasn't just the promoters. Now the promoters are actually running the sport, and we're seeing the worst product. Even the great Don King allegedly borrowed some money from a known mafioso in Cleveland. And that's because he had, what was the guy? What's that guy that, remember Mike Tyson fought that security guard? You know what I'm talking about?
Julius Francis.
No, the guy, they paid him as Irish, but he was a pretty good amateur.
Oh, he talk about Peter McNeely.
Peter McNeely, yep. Just like that. Peter McNeely, Mike Tyson fight, that was a mob paid fight where they had paid all this money. Say it again?
I thought you was talking about Terry Conklin. I thought you was talking about Terry Conklin.
No, that was another one, but the Peter McNeely was the big one they tried to do. That was the big hustle they tried to do. But what I'm basically saying is they had an organization where in boxing now the promoters are really running into the ground with their Cold Wars, what they keeping the sides of the street. Because I guarantee you this, if we would have got the Errol Spence fight when we were supposed to earlier, if we would have got the Floyd Manny Pacquiao fight earlier, it would have changed the trajectory of boxing. Boxing has went down because we're not ever getting fights on time. I keep saying Emiliano and Abdullah Mason need to try to figure out, are they going to fight at 140 or are they going to fight at 147? These type of things we got to kind of get in motion so we can start building to it. Because what we did wrong in the 90s, in my opinion, was we forgot about the Paul Williamses. We forgot about the Miguel Cottos. And all they cared about was two guys, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd. They forgot about the Chop Curleys. They forgot about the Castillos. It was so many other guys around, Shane Mosley. All these guys were around, but they focused on two guys. And I think we lost so much because we get fixated on two guys. We got to get it to where it's nothing but big fights. People got to remember, when you seen those Mike Tyson, and my bad for being long when I'm getting my Dub Rice hat on.
Nah, go ahead.
When you seen those big cars with Don King, people got to remember they had what's my man's name? Chavez on them. Chavez was the best fighter in the world, but Mike Tyson was the biggest draw, and we don't even have that now. That's what I mean when I say we really missing out on people running the boxing the right way. People forget. People came to see Juan Chavez Sr. They came out to see him. And then they got a treat of seeing this crazy black nigga, Mike Tyson, who can barely read and write, having that big black nigga in there help too. We got to get that.
Now that's where you're wrong. That dude definitely can read and write.
I think his skill level, I think his reading skills got up when he went to prison because I think he said he read more books.
Skylar can play this game. These big black niggas, man, these ain't scholars.
Bro, why you keep doing that cooning stuff, bro? Why you wait?
Hold on, that's not cooning. That's just
hold on. You gotta be a little careful.
I'm gonna get my razor out when you talk that.
Now listen to me. Our positive streaming is on his show, and he do a little bit different.
It's fine.
I don't know. He might not like that,
man, I can't.
You don't know.
And but you know what's funny? I like people like Scholar because they don't give guys like Canelo Alvarez credit for getting the biggest, blackest niggas y'all got. Give me these black niggas. I fight these niggas whether I win or draw.
Hold on, BBO. Let me address your other point because you said something earlier. I want to touch on. So you talked about the biggest fights, BBO. Let me tell you something, BBO. Right. And you should know this from Don King. I know you done read his books, Don King, and you study all of those people. They might not even put it in their books, but if you look at their actions, they understand that the boxing fans don't even know what they want. You know what's proof of that? This fight. Because the whole time that this fight was about to happen, all you heard was hand wringing, BBO. Oh my God, boxing is dead. Why are they doing this? Oh my God, it's going to be nothing but exhibitions. This is going to be bad for the sanctity of boxing. Now everybody mad that the fight is canceled. So you should take away from this from that, BBO. Boxing fans are going to show up when you put names out there, when you build excitement around the fight. If you get these fighters to fight when nobody know them, it's only going to make for a great fight that nobody cares about. And a good example of this, if you go look at Mike Alvarado and Rios, Brandon Rios, excuse me. If you go look at their fights, they had exciting fights. Nobody talks about those fights because of the names. You have to have the names. And see, what happened with Floyd and Manny Pacquiao is Floyd was already a huge star, and so was Manny Pacquiao. But they kept teasing the fight and then going out and not fighting and building and beating everybody else in the division. If we learn anything from WWE, the show away from the show is more important than the actual show. That's what's going to get butts in the seats. And if the fighters, who a lot of fighters don't even do a lot of talking, they don't do, Shakur do a lot of tweeting, you know what I mean? But even when they talking, they're not saying the right things. But you have to build up the fighter, like T.O. and Shakur. Theoretically, if that fight happened, let's say next year, that would be a good fight theoretically. But if they had bad blood that built up and they was fighting at press conferences and it was some Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson press conference stuff, that added to the fight. When Lennox Lewis got bit by Mike Tyson, that probably got a 500,000 more views for that fight. The show away from the show is more important. Like the prime on prime stuff only works theoretically. It doesn't work in actuality. When you put two fighters in their prime, a lot of times it don't transfer to the biggest fight of all time. Like aesthetically, it's pleasing, but as far as the actual fight and the spectacle of the whole situation, it never transfers. Never.
Yep. Perfect example of that is Marlon Starling versus Donald Curry. Now, Donald Curry beat him earlier in their career. They won a decision, and they fought again later on when Donald Curry was a champion. Marlon Starling was one of the top contenders. And, and like I said, the fight didn't generate, it wasn't even pay-per-view, to tell you the truth. It was a pay-per-view. It didn't generate a lot because once Donald Curry left the division, then Marlon Starling became the top welterweight. But that should have been a top fight. But like you said, just having prime fighters face each other isn't always a top seller. It's got to be you need a backstory, and that's the thing about Roy Jones. Well, I made about Roy Jones. Roy Jones needed a promoter, and he was always self-promoting because Roy Jones, the guys he was beating, like Virgil Hill, is a very good win. Virgil Hill is an all-time great heavyweight, and he was in his prime when Roy beat him, but he didn't have a promoter build him up like the way you build a fighter up. You put him on the undercards of like when the top guys fight, and you got this guy on the undercard. Like that's what Don King should do when he was hyping up Felix Trinidad versus Terry Norris. He would have both of those guys fight on the undercard. Both of those guys fought on the undercard of Bruce Seldon Tyson. They fought on that same undercard. September 7th, my bad. September 7th, 96. Y'all know why I remember the date. But September 7th, 96, Trinidad fought Ray Levada, and I forgot who Terry Norris fought. It was on the tip of my tongue. But they was going to fight later, but then Terry Norris got knocked out by Keith Mullins. But yeah, you need a promoter to build these guys up.
So all positive with Francis Ngannou stepping in and the fight not materializing because that wasn't a real offer. I remember Jake Paul tweeted a while back and he was like that he wanted to fight Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. He knows how to build the show away from the show, like what we're talking about. He knows how to build buzz with some BS. He know how to attract people with BS as the bait. But Rolly Romero threw his bid in there, all positive. Let's see what Rolly had to say. Pa. I'm positive. What person you ever know throw the punch and made it sound pa?
What's his name? I think Southpaw did that.
I'm talking about real boxers. The only person I would listen. That sound like a Batman comic. You remember ping pow? Yeah. Like I could not believe when I was like, yeah, Rolly, you're not doing anything to fight them slow alligators.
And I'm glad you put Rolly up there. Speaking of Rolly, man, Ryan Garcia, they're trying to get him in the ring next with Barrios. They're trying to get that. I heard that might be a fight coming up. They really trying to get this guy a belt, man.
Listen, and I blame anybody at 147 who haven't made the fight with Barrios. Listen, I would give Barrios 60 to 70% of the purse to steal his belt if I was at 47.
Yeah,
because it's the closest that you're gonna get to a for sure win. He sucks.
Yeah, he's the weakest champ.
The weakest champ out of all of them. It's a free belt.
And you lost to a 46, 47-year-old man, and they had to rob this guy. Talking about a draw.
What's good, Mosaic? Yeah, I 100% agree. All positive. If I was in boxing, like I said, at 47, there is absolutely no way I wouldn't be breaking my neck to get that fight. And only because it's like an internship. You're gonna receive so much more on the back end. Like, so, okay, so even if you give them 60%, now you can have 2 belts. You go in with the higher minimum, that you can get for a fight. And you also have 2 belts, so it brings you more leverage in the next negotiation fight and brings you that much closer to undisputed in case you ever move up to 54. So you win on all fronts. So I don't understand why that is even like this is even a conversation. Like, I thought that would be common sense. That's just me.
Well, he's fighting for Al Heyman, right? Isn't he signed a PBC?
Yeah.
So there's that. Al Heyman might be in an Al Heyman protection program. So a lot of people may have offered him, may have offered to fight him, but Al Heyman's like, nah, we're saving him for something special.
I don't know. We should. Most hated brother. Did you watch my my breakdown on members only of Lubin versus Ortiz? We're gonna be in the building tomorrow. We're going live. We're going live from the fight. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow around I believe it's 3:45 p.m. Central Time. We're gonna be at the weigh-in. I'm gonna be doing interviews. We're gonna be asking questions. We're gonna be in the building, man. So y'all make sure y'all tune in tomorrow for that episode. But yeah, man. I don't know what's going on with Rolly. Listen, I don't even think Rolly's serious about the fight. I think Rolly's trying to do what Jake Paul's trying to do on the other side of this thing, and it is what it is. It's gonna turn out how it's gonna turn out. But Jake Paul, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would not be surprised if I seen Jake Paul accept this fight with Rolly. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because Rolly's a smaller guy, but they could sell that Rolly's a champion. He has all the accolades that Tank has, to be honest with
you.
Yeah. They can say, this guy was beating Gervonta Tate Davis until he knocked him out. Come on, man. We've been in this marketing game for a long time. We know how this is gonna go, bro. This guy was outboxing Tank Davis before he knocked him out. So arguably he was winning the fight. They're gonna sell it as he was the real winner of the fight, and that he has real legitimate power. He's so much bigger and muscular. That's why he couldn't stay at the lower weights, and that he walks around at this weight, and this guy is really dangerous. I could see that fight happening. I could see it happening.
Oh man. Yeah, Spring Mountain, right? Hey, so you guys, I want to make an important announcement. I want to let everybody know I'm going to slap Jake Paul across his face because, first and foremost, man, I'm tired of this YouTube boxing stuff, man. I really am. I am more tired of this YouTube boxing stuff than everyone else, man. To go that welterweight.
Why do they just not say I want a payday?
Because
why does it always? Oh, I'm going to be the guy to retire this YouTube. I'm so sick of this.
No
YouTube
one's ever
boxing.
done that. No one's ever said, "Well, I just want this fight for a payday." No one's not going to say.
Just
I don't know
the
why
truth.
people don't say that. I would say that, but I don't know one's ever going to say that.
What Will Smith saying concussion? Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Hey, bro, I'm about to be the GOAT at cruiserweight. Me and Jake fight in 2 weeks. No, and then they want to go waste their time with Ryan, right, bro? Ryan Garcia done wasted 6 months of my life, bro, because we're over here trying to figure out a rematch because me and him obviously had a rematch clause, and then he don't want to fight me, and he wants to go run off and go fight Barrios and waste my time. Yeah, no, let's make this happen, bro. Bro, I'll be ready in a week. I'll be ready to slap Jake Paul across the face in a week.
If Ryan
Should
Garcia
technically be ready.
if he loses to Barrios, he need to retire.
He won't. Barrios is one of the most god awful fighters I've ever seen in my life. Like they talk about champion. Kambosos was a more befitting champion than him, in my opinion. Like Barrios awful. Like you got to look at it like Tank Davis' team chose this man as an opponent. That right there should let you know.
Yeah,
But,
it says everything.
Yeah, that's a telltale sign of what Barrios really is as a fighter. You know, but yeah, I can see the fight happening.
Yeah, so what if I'm drunk? Yeah, what's Ryan gonna do? What's Ryan gonna do to be different? What's Ryan gonna do? Hey, the only thing that Ryan can't beat is depression. Oh, but that was never gonna get old. Yeah, Jake Paul's team's not gonna let me beat him, huh? I think Jake Paul's scared of me.
More positive, do you believe he's doing this for a noble cause and that Jake Paul is scared of him and that he really wants to get rid of this YouTube boxing stuff? Is that what you think is going on? Can you hear me all positive?
Oh yeah, what you just say?
Do you really believe that he's doing this for the nobility of boxing? And that
Nope.
You don't believe that?
No, I don't, because really ain't
He
that type
looks
of
so
guy.
convincing when he said it all, positive.
He really ain't that type of guy. He's not that type of guy to be doing this for the good of the sport. He's like everybody else. He want payday.
Payday. You know another thing we got to talk about all positive that nobody is addressing.
What's that?
Shakur came out a loser.
Why you giving a loser?
I don't know if you can see the screen. That's him helping.
Oh yeah, we knew. I know. We knew he was sparring Jake Paul to help him prepare, but yeah, the fight didn't go through. So yeah.
So he ends up going over there. First off, like I don't know if you can see the screen. Let me put this at the bottom. So this is him in like a reflex test and whose jab is faster, and he loses to Jake Paul. Like, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how people don't see this. Shakur is world class corny as a boxer. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. Like, I don't believe he's the monster that everybody says he is. I just don't. I'm not buying it. I'm not combining it from a competitive point of view, any of that stuff, man. But hey, like I said, it is what it is. But I don't want to make this.
I think Shakur's a very good fighter, but he did look vulnerable in his last fight. Like, if he was fighting a guy with some power, he'd have probably been in some trouble.
Shakur act like that fight was his undisputed fight. Like, ever since then, he's been acting like he's the guy. And it's just like, bro, that was a step up fight because the bar that you created has been so low and the performances that you had have been so low. So as far as what you're normally used to or what you're normally doing, that is a step up fight. But humble yourself a little bit, Shakur. That's nothing to go, to go home and try to do a parade, have a parade in New Jersey.
Hey, if he could, he would. Trust me.
Oh, he definitely would. But yeah. But besides that, Shakur taking the L, and all he had to do was listen to Tim Bradley and all the people that came out and said, don't go do it, Scholar and all these other people, and he wouldn't have had anything to worry about. But instead, he went over there and tried to help Tank Davis Jake Paul lose a fight against his nemesis, which is Tank Davis, in a fight that he claims he wants oh so bad. And now that the fight is not happening, guess who looks like a clown? The guy who tried to help him beat his rival. Like he came out. Shakur is historically taking L's, man. He can't help. Shakur is the Nick Cannon of boxing. There, I said it.
I don't know why people are like that. His fight coming up with Teofimo Lopez. I don't know why people are overlooking Lopez, man. I mean,
I got Lopez in the fight, and I don't even like Lopez.
I think both are good fighters, man. But he's not a guy you can overlook, man.
I got Lopez in the fight. I don't care what nobody say. I take that action. I know my brother Il gonna have some action for me. But there was one winner out of this whole situation, and we don't know yet. The jury's still out, but so far it's looking good for him.
went to Florida and kind of started to get acclimated at your new weight?
It's been pretty grueling. We've been working hard, man. We've been working hard. I'm enjoying the extra weight. It's a, it's a good thing. So, we've been moving and grooving. We've been doing our thing.
You know, with that, I know that the idea is that most times when people are making weight, they kind of feel drained a little bit in camp. So I think I was watching from your YouTube channel that you felt not drained at all. Can you talk about that a little bit from a perspective of a fighter who understands they have to make weight and they have to do certain things, but what's so different from that, I guess, in a little bit more detail?
It's like specifically, it comes down to more so the things that I can eat or how much I can eat, and it's like a big difference. I don't have to worry about how much I have to eat or how much I consume because
All positive. Does that statement change your pick in the fight with Pitbull Cruz versus him? Because one of the reasons that people was giving him because he lost at the lower weights, and they were saying that Pitbull Cruz might. So does that give you more comfort, or you still sticking with your guns?
I really okay. Now, I will say this: I was picking Pitbull Cruz initially, but yeah, that might make me change because, like I said, as we've seen with Crawford and Canelo, man, like nowadays we got 36-hour rehydration after the weigh-in. They weigh in on Friday mornings, and they fight Saturday night going to Sunday morning. So they're giving these guys a chance to put on a lot of weight after the weigh-in. That's 36 hours almost. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I mean, it's really not like weight classes really don't matter at this point anymore. It's starting not to matter until they change. Now, I'm just saying, if I had a fighter, if I was promoting a fighter and I was the A side, I'm like this. I'm like, look, we gonna weigh in on Friday night. We're not gonna do this Friday morning thing. We're gonna weigh in 10 o'clock Friday night, and we're gonna fight the earliest we can Saturday. And so I'm trying to have my guy coming in drained. That's what I would do. But I'm not a promoter or boxer, so.
Yo, all positive. I just thought about something, brainstormed in real time. I think I might interview fighters tomorrow and then go live, send you the link, and see if you want to ask them questions.
Yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do that.
Because there's going to be a bunch of people at the dinner that from the undercard and stuff like that. So I'll do my research tonight, get some questions, and then when we go live tomorrow, we'll
What kind of food they serving at that dinner?
Oh, I don't know. It's just for them. I don't think it's for me.
I'll try to get me a plate.
No, I ain't. I wouldn't eat it anyway. You never know. They might got it out for old Scott. We've been talking about. We've been slandering Turkey al-Rashid lately.
Well, they ain't had no pork there. I don't know, man. He probably would have some there.
That's the only thing I would eat there, pork, because I know he ain't tempered.
we work so hard, and mind you, 40 is a whole 10 pounds from 3 fights ago, two fights ago. So, it's a big difference. I don't walk around like a fat sloppy guy, like a big slob. Like I'm always in the gym, so it's not like I'm carrying a weight or I'm walking around at a weight that's crazy to get down to 140 pounds. Like I walk around like around 150, like on a regular day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working out every day. I'm in training camp. We're training extra hard. So it's just one of those things where there's nothing that's really going to, even the slightest bit, and I don't want to say drain, because I don't be drained in camp for my previous camps, but it's like better when you have the most energy that you can have.
Mm-hmm. With your camp, I know that I got a chance to see your son, and splitting image of you, man. And
So
I know that
one thing I wanted to make, another point I wanted to make to what you said on positive is weight is starting not to matter in the sport. And I think that that's a telltale sign that we got to get more stringent testing. Like people was talking about jumping up 4 or 5 weight classes like it's nothing. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah, man.
fighting down and talking about cutting muscle and getting knockouts. You're like, bro, what? We didn't seen the greatest fighters that God ever created cut muscle and not look good in the fight. James Toney versus Roy Jones. He had to cut a bunch of muscle for that fight. He didn't look good.
James Toney lost about 50 pounds over the course of a month and a half. I was like, he was very slight. That's the worst he's ever looked in his career.
And so you mean to tell me it's a dude out there that's better than James Toney? He can cut muscle and still look good, but James Toney can't. It's suspicious, man. And if you're not suspicious, man, you're living in la la land. But let me see if I can fast forward what they talking about.
I don't know. Look, matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. We might see a lot of positive tests coming up. You know, old boy passed away the other day.
So I was gonna talk about that, but see, all positive. You should be proud of me, all positive. It's been some things, man. It's been some things I've been letting slide. It was a dude talking stuff online.
Yeah.
I ain't really say that much. I trolled him in the chat, just moved on. And even with that person that passed away, you know, I don't really care too much for him. I just let it go because everything I done already said, my mind ain't gonna change after he passed away. You know, my opinion is still gonna be my opinion, whether he's alive or passed away. And I don't think he was good for the sport. If he's now gone, and that's another reason why I'm not rolling with Dev. There you go. A little bit of tidbit into my breakdown. Devin Haney was the first one to report it before anybody else because he went to Twitter and tweeted it. And I'm like, wait a minute. So Devin Haney went to Twitter and tweeted it before anybody else got hold of this, right? And it's like, so that means he was in constant contact with Victor Conte personally. I just worked it with Snack because I don't know if he had a direct line to Victor Conte, but is that gonna affect his mental for the fight, the biggest fight of his career, going up in weight, where he's coming off a knockdown loss that he still has ghosts hunting him from? It's just not looking good for Devin Haney. I'm just being honest with you. You know, especially, you remember there's a video of Bill Haney like, if there's any fighter out there on steroids, we're gonna catch you. Victor Conte's not anymore. Are you still that confident that you're gonna catch anybody that's cheating you? Just a lot of things to worry about. This is a game that's 70-80% mental. You have to factor in these things, you know, to make me lean more towards B. Norman Jr.
And you know, they just see us in the light of an athlete, and you know, we have feelings, we have things that go on in our lives too, and you know, we have a goal. Obviously, we have a goal. There's a little speed bump along the road, but I just use it. I would definitely use it as fuel as I slowly grieve. You know, it's hard. It's even hard to talk about, honestly. It's such an important piece to my life. Just overall looking at me, I'm 30 years old, bro. Like, I had my grandma in my life for 30 years. So, it's tough. But, I just have to think about what she would.
Okay, that's what he's talking about, his grandma passing away. I didn't timestamp this. I want to hear about the Gervonta Tate Nate stuff.
She seen me, you know what I'm saying? Like, she seen me with.
Of course, that's going to affect you. Hold on.
6.
He said his grandmother.
I do for sure. And,
hold on, let me see what he has tomorrow.
Spectacular fashion coming on December 6th.
Okay, so he's asking about December 6th.
I know last time we spoke, I didn't mention a particular fighter's name, but I feel like on my job, I'm remiss to have to ask, with the news that kind of happened.
What a damn time.
Predictions before we get to what he says. I'll pause. What do you think he's gonna say? You think he's gonna say the politically correct, or you think he's gonna say ha ha aha?
I don't know. I think politically correct something he's gonna say like that.
I don't think so. I think he's gonna say aha. So here we go.
Right.
Just overall, I mean, I know he spoke highly about the fact that you guys were supposed to fight, and then it went to that, and then they were supposed to fight Tank and Jake, and that didn't happen. So just wanted to get your thoughts. I mean, is there an honest opinion, or even maybe, or you have a positive message to the circumstance, or just, you know, just shoulder shrug? Like, how do
I
you?
don't have, yeah, it's a shoulder shrug. Like, I don't got, you know, it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. Like, I don't got nothing to do with me. So next.
Damn, you all positive. Damn, you're right. You were right. Why do people always do? I hate that people. It's such a social disconnect that people don't even know how to be genuinely themselves anymore. Like that ain't how he's really feeling. I would have been like, that's what he get. You know, I'm focused on Pitbull Cruz because Gervonta Tank Davis took so much of my time saying that he was going to rematch me, knowing that he wasn't going to rematch me the entire time. Took so much of my career away. You know, I'm 30 years old. You know, I could have been active and fighting, but he took that away from me.
Errol Spence did the same thing to Bud. He knew he didn't want that.
Exactly.
Waited.
Had him waiting on the shelf, you know, in litigation. But yeah, I would have said how I really felt. But you was right. Let's see if he had any more. Maybe hold on. Maybe that's hope.
Do you feel like at this point that rematch is just the consistency of the back-to-back fights? It's pretty much set that it's better or more realistic options out there that fans, I think, who probably were kind of getting on you, you know, maybe you're kind of getting some more support in a sense where, all right, we can see that back-to-back fights just didn't happen.
People should let it go. I've been let it go a long time ago. People should just let it go. It's not gonna. I doubt it's gonna happen, and I know that. So I'm gone. I think people should just, you know, take things for what they really are, like what they like, you know, what you can see, literally. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't have no interest in anything that way.
Awesome. And lastly,
no interest in anything that way? What? If somebody held up my career like that, I would be so mad. You know, it would be personal. It would be personal. We would eventually have to get in the ring. There's no way.
Tank's not getting back in the ring.
Go. I mean, dude, Stephen Fulton.
I told people that Tank's never getting in the ring with Roach again. People thought it was playing. Even when then they signed the rematch. And I'm like, okay, I ate a little crow because I ate a little crow. Like, okay, he fooled me, but then he backed out of it. So I'm like, okay, I was right all along.
I remember that. I remember that all positive. I remember after the fight happened and not believing he was getting back in the ring with him too, because he was saying so many different things that that was obvious. It was obvious to me, at least, that he wasn't getting back in the ring with them. At least to me.
Well, Tank must got a lot of money, man. He must be, you know what I'm saying? He must be living good. He must got a lot of money that he don't need to fight for it. He must have saved his money well.
I don't think it's necessarily that. You know what I think it is, Positive?
What is it?
I think Gervonta Tank Davis is a little bit slow, like BBO said. And I think that he's not a great businessman. And I think that he'll shoot himself in the foot from time to time because of that lack of business sense and the attitude of I can do what I want to do. I think those two things is why Gervonta Tank Davis is where we see him. You know what I mean? Always he's at the top of the sport, but always at the bottom of the totem pole as far as matchmaking in big fights. Like, if you're the face of boxing, you should at least be in three. If there's 3 big fights that year, you should be involved in them. Devin Haney's involved in more big fights this year, technically, than Tank. The one big fight he was going to be involved in, he couldn't even do the right thing so that he could go through. So he's a person that's going to always constantly drop the ball. He don't got guidance. That's what it is. You know, a lot of people they be clowning on dudes that be raised by single moms, but I mean, most people would at least admit that God made men more physically strong and he made women more mentally strong. And sometimes that mental strength can be passed down to the kid. They learn a sense of resilience from the mama. You need both parents, but they still can learn what they're supposed to learn positively from the mama. People never say these type of things, but this is just the reality of it. But Tank mom don't got that. She don't got that. I see her at the fights. She be acting like a what do they call hot girl, summer girl? You know what I mean? Like she got a tongue guy.
Like about 20, 25 years old out there in the crowd with blonde hair.
Yes, blonde hair, short hair, and just and then Tank's always looking for his mama in the crowd. Never fails. Where my mom at? I don't know, just weird. But yeah, he don't got. I ain't gonna say I feel bad for Tank, but I understand why Tank is where he is. Looking at where he come from, the guidance that he got. I even look at what's supposed to be the father figure in his life, and this is the difference in the mentalities now from yesteryear. James Toney had Bill Pops Miller in his corner, right? James Toney probably had one of the worst attitudes out of any prize fighter that's ever existed. He definitely top 10, top 20. That dude had a chip on his shoulder, but he had a messed up life too, just like what Gervonta Tank Davis had. But Bill Pops Miller wasn't taking none of that, and he let James Toney know at the beginning, "I'm old. You need me. I don't need you." And he walked when James Toney didn't listen to him. He left James Toney. James Toney didn't leave Bill Pops Miller. Bill Pops Miller left James Toney. Calvin makes everything Tank does permissible. He make more excuses for Tank than the fans online. And then, even when he was asking questions at the Jake Paul thing, it's like, Calvin, you've been reduced to this, man, where you're media at Gervonta Tank Davis fights and you're asking questions with the YouTubers. YouTube, as y'all would say, the YouTube, it's a little embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing. I'm gonna just keep it real. But what's up, X?
What's good, man? What's good with y'all boys, man?
I ain't heard from you in a while. Yes, good?
Yeah, man, I'm all good, man. Just hanging in there, man.
Oh, you must start back sparring, brother. They put it on you? Sounding, I don't like the way your voice sounds, brother.
Yeah, man. I got hit so hard the other day. I fought it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, man. People don't even really understand that type of stuff. X, like when you get so nervous before a fight, bro, you got a boo-boo, but you ain't really ate because you're so nervous because you can't eat. But then you gotta be careful because if you get hit in the wrong spot, it could be an embarrassing moment. I don't know if that go through your head, X. I be thinking of like worst stuff case scenario, like, damn, bro, what if I ever got hit and then I actually sharded in the ring? I be going through everything, every scenario possible.
Bro, that happens to everybody, bro. Niggas, I don't think about that, bro. Man, stop, bro. Niggas think about that shit. All these niggas think about that shit. Toughest niggas in the world. Toughest niggas in the world be scared of something.
Like, if it happens, you always take a knee. Like Tank, they go to the corner.
Yo, no, I'm positive. If this is what I look at it like this. I will never in my life be known as the dude that got hit so hard in his body that he sharded. Like they heard a fart noise come out and he might have pooped his pants. Like I'd rather get knocked out cold than be that guy. Because that story's gonna stand out forever. That's gonna be legacy. So no, I don't want to. I never want to be that guy. But yeah, I used to think about stuff like that. I wouldn't eat. If I did eat X, it would be something light, like some grapes. Got water and sugar.
Yeah,
you know what
stay away from apple juice.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, no, don't. Yes. As a matter of fact, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. If I was fighting somebody, I would tell my promoters to make sure all they had was apple juice at these dinners, just so that he would have diarrhea.
Man, yo.
Yeah, I would have that. So X, how you feel about the homie Tank, man? You think Tank messed it up the bag?
That's the homie?
The brother. That's what I meant. The brother Tank.
I don't want to talk about that. I was just at the barbershop talking about that nigga too. Caught myself.
You know what my suspicion was, X, and this is why I always end up doing this, and people think I have a soft spot for Tank, but I just keep it real, bro. I think that Jake Paul couldn't sell this fight to the public. I think they wasn't going to recoup their money back from the live gate, so they just scrapped it on this because it wasn't even it was civil. It wasn't criminal charges that was out, and then they didn't even wait to see if he was going to beat the charges. What if he beats him? You know what I mean? What if he beats it and doesn't have to pay any money? Like, what if he fights him? They just went and ran with, I can't do this. It's like, well, wait a minute. Gervonta Tank Davis has had a history of domestic abuse, wrecking a pregnant woman and leaving in the car, and y'all do all these things when y'all signed the contract. Why all of a sudden the change of heart? I think they were using this as a scapegoat to get out of the fight, in my personal opinion.
That's what my barber said, nigga. Shit crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with him. I don't think
that's crazy as hell. He said that same shit.
Yeah, I don't think they ever wanted this fight. I think they did want the fight until they seen the reaction from the public. Because even in the press conference, I seen Jake Paul trying to sell it. Like, I don't know, man. This is dangerous. You know how they do, bro. WWE stuff. This is the dangerous. I ain't got no sleep. But what press you? What Jake Paul was trying to do to the public, what press would do to us for Tank's opponents. Man, I was scared for Leo Santa Cruz. Man, you wasn't scared. You remember press trying to tell us that? I was scared. I didn't know Tank was gonna pull that off.
Man, stop.
Yeah, they were trying to sell it to us. But I wanted to bring this up, and I want to get you and our positives opinion about this, because this is interesting. So I've been fighting the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul rigged allegations, and I stand firmly on that. But sports in the general, it's obvious. You'd have to be either greatly naive or greatly stupid, or both, to not acknowledge that sports betting is a real thing. They just had a mafia scandal in the NBA with betting and stuff like that, right? And it's not going to be isolated to one sport. And this is exactly why we don't need a sanctioning body, because lo and behold, out of all the corruption that's swirling boxing, our corruption is to the forefront because it's expected. But there's no one person over our sport to consolidate the corruption. In the NBA, they have a commission that can consolidate the corruption. NFL, same thing. You can't do that in boxing because people are looking out for themselves. The other promoters are like, nah, I ain't finna agree with you for my fighter to throw a fight. What I'm gonna get out of it? Now, if they was under one umbrella, they would look at the bigger picture and say, okay, well, I'll get them to throw the fight. So it's really, really interesting. The one thing that they want to get away from, which is the free market of boxing, is the one thing that could arguably be saving the sport of boxing, because there's not one sanctioning body or czar. I love it. I love it because I've been preaching this for a long time. But I want to get y'all opinion about this. So the UFC, right, had a scandal about fixing bets, and Ariel Helwani brought somebody on the show to break it down. So check it out.
At around 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, so you essentially just laid the foundation, everything, the fight was going to happen, all of that. So all week, Isaac Dolgarian, from Sunday evening of last week all the way through Saturday at 5 o'clock, Isaac Dolgarian is sitting around, depending on the book you're going to, minus 250, minus 260, minus 270. A fairly heavy favorite. A lot of people are favoring him to get it done, use the ground game, everything like that. It was actually Rick's pick and the Parlay Pals and everything like that. And around 7 o'clock, people started noticing via websites like bestfightodds.com, fightodds.io that have tracking on the odds. We have a picture of it right here. They start noticing this incredibly steep increase. You can see around the 27th of October all the way through Saturday evening, he's sitting as a minus 250 or greater favorite. This is mean odds. So this is all of the sports books gathered together to make an average on the odds. And then right around 5 o'clock is when this insane increase happens. Now, this typically happens when...
I'm not going to lie. I thought that this was extremely shocking because in the movie Harlem Nights, it's literally the theme of the movie, where they got everybody's money under one umbrella, made it appear like they were going to pay the fighter to take a dive. So they focused on that, and they end up running away with everybody's money. And I'm like, the UFC is taking a playbook out of Harlem Nights and rigging fights? What?
Yeah, man.
So I'm gonna finish the video all positive. I want you or X to break this down to me because I'm not an efficient better. So let me finish.
There are big bets coming in on a certain side. They're going to adjust the odds to try to get equal playing on each side to guarantee profit for the sportsbook. But something like this happening this close to the fight, this drastic of odds changes, is going to alert a lot of people. And we can see by some tweets that we saw, people in the MMA betting space, it's a lot of people on Twitter that kind of started firing these off. You see minus 270 to minus 162. Uncle Weezy MMA, he was one of the first to note it. This one, he's actually looking specifically at Del Valle to win in round one, dropping from plus 850 down to plus 500. And I think it ended up getting down as low as plus 400. We can keep going. These are all happening before the fight even takes place. Shout out to DFS by the numbers. Brady, this is right when the fight was about to start. He tweeted, Isaac Dulgarian's now minus 145. FBI, investigate this now. Val Duar, he notes it as well. All of these people, I think we have one more tweet from Val here where he even notices on FanDuel, all of the methods get locked for the fight as well. So like you can't put in rounds or methods or anything like that. This is all happening before the fight even takes place. This massive odd moments, you've got the sports books locking it up. It seems very fishy. Then they actually come out. The fight happens. Isaac Dulgarian gets finished in the first round in a fight that, if you watch it back, that it seems suspicious in its own right. And now, ever since the fight ended, I mean, the second the fight ended, Twitter started blowing up with that fight was fixed. This was abnormal. You can tell by the way that that DC was talking about it. You can tell by the way that the broadcast is talking about it. Michael Chiesa is ripping on Dulgarian that it seems fishy. And ever since then, now we've got sportsbooks coming out. Caesars is going to refund it. William Hill as well. They used to be owned by the same company. Now they're separate entities. They're putting out the same tweet about how the Dulgarian fight, the people will be refunded. And it's opened up a whirlwind of people calling for action to be taken. And now, obviously, the story that you broke last night, Isaac Dulgarian has been cut by the UFC.
Great breakdown. Thank you for that.
Then the UFC cut him, as if there wasn't any more implication that the UFC might be rigged. Hey, let's get rid of the guy. Raggy, real like, okay, all positive. Pittsburgh T, somebody with a brain bigger than mine, please break this down, man, because this is insane.
Well, I got burned the other night on the UNLV bet. They do this a lot. They'll have one team like a high favorite. There was UNLV was I put on a parlay. It was at a minus 2,300. And as the game was going on in the first half, they started lowering it because UNLV, they were getting beat, and they ended up losing the game against, I forgot who they played, it was a Tech team, whatever, the team they shouldn't have lost to. But they fooled everybody because everybody had put that some people, they just add certain things on the parlay, like, okay, UNLV's not gonna lose to this team, this no-name team, and that's how they get a lot of teams. How they lose teams, they lose a lot of money with teams like that. But yeah, this happens a lot, man. This happens a lot. Either the refs are fixing the games, or someone's throwing the games, like within the team or whatever. But yeah, UNLV should have lost that game.
All positive. So my understanding of this, like I said, I'm not a proficient bettor, right? I've won money way a long time ago, but I don't do betting that often. It's too risky for me. But look, check this out, right? So from what I heard is they had the odds lower, right?
Yeah.
Right before the fight, and then there was a spike in the odds for right before the fight for first round finish, and they don't let you put in first round finish after the bets. They've switched the bets or live betting. From my understanding, I don't know, could be wrong. And then all of a sudden he gets finished in the first round in the UFC. So even if the UFC is not even a part of it, they think that he's a part of it. That's why he lost his job for doing it. And this is exactly why Dana White coming over to boxing, talking about getting rid of Muhammad Ali, that fighters are willing to go in there and throw fights because they're not making enough money. They have to split their money with Dana White. So that leads them to, if somebody approached them and say, hey, they're gonna make $100 million off of this first round of stoppage. Why wouldn't I give him $5 million for securing that this happens? Why not? I'm gonna make money hand over fist in the long run. And he's never gonna be able to make that. The heavyweight champion, John Jones, wasn't even making $5 million in his prime, undefeated, and being compared to George Foreman, wasn't even making $5 million. They incentivize corruption by consolidating all the money at the top if they're not a part of it. But they might be a part of it too as well. That's another avenue to go down. But it's just silly to me.
I don't know if they're a part of it though, Starling. I don't know if they're a part of it. Because look, the way betting work, like if it's always got to be balanced. They want to make it appear or seem to be balanced. So somebody, like, say like an hour or 2 hours before the fight, somebody dropped $20 million on the side, then it's going to adjust the other side. It's going to fix the odds on the other side. And it always wants the perception of being even. So that person that drops that bet in the last minute, you can look this up. They call it moving the line. So you can move the line on what the odds are by just simply doing that. And people do that as a strategy. So they might have 10 million dropped on one side and they'll drop another mil on the other side. Like it's a whole bunch of stuff that goes with it that people professionally and know how that goes.
I think they were saying at the beginning they switched the odds in a way that it'll be perceived to go one way. Like let's say decision for this, but then they'll wait to the last second, put $20 million on the knockout so that it'll balance themselves out and they'll run away with all the money. That was my understanding of what they said.
But that's better. Yeah, but that's better though, Scholar. That is a better strategy, is what I'm telling you. That might not be as nefarious as what it is. It could or could not be. It could be a bunch of things going on at the same thing. It don't have to be one thing. It could be bettors that are betting that way. It could be that he's actually on his own personal level, he got some other bullshit going on. All these things don't have to be going on, but they can all be going on at the same time. I give you an example. The guy that got caught in the NBA, the referee, for the whole scandal that he got caught up in. It was a lot. Like he was Donahue. They had a whole they got a bunch of documentaries on that guy. Now he's in this. Now he's not just a regular referee. He's a referee that does the playoffs. He ended up in a couple finals. Like he's the elite level of the NBA referees, right? They won the NBA number one. They made it distance themselves and like he was the only person, the only ref that was doing it. He was the only one that was kicked out of the league and had anything ever said about it. They did a soft investigation. You never really heard anything about it. But more importantly, all of those games were betted on. And Donahue and the ring that he was on, the people who collected the money, they didn't go back and say, hey, we found out that these people were cheating. Here you go, some money. Like, it's always people that are gaming the system and they don't have to collectively be working together. And on top of the referee doing it, you got players doing it. So there's a player aspect, there's official aspect of it, and then it's the people who are running and rigging the games as far as the numbers and stuff. And remember, all of this stuff now is AI and algorithmic. That's the other part of it. So, like, I'll give you an example. Like, I know it's long-winded, but this is the last part I'll tie into this. Like, when the stock market, when they have algorithmic trading, the big hedge funds, and what it does, it works off of a news feed. Meaning they have a news feed that they pay extra money. They pay this crazy amount of money. Say they pay $70,000 a month. They'll get the news maybe 2 minutes before you get the news. And it'll hit them. And then their algorithm will trade that news before you have an opportunity to even get that news. So something to be moving and you'll be looking for news and you can't find it. It's based off of news. So they have what they call algorithmic trading based off news feeds. So that could be a thing too. So it's a lot of different things. It's hard to tie it into one thing. I think it's a lot of things going on at one time. That's the problem with having betting in the forefront of these sports like this. This is the whole problem with this stuff.
I think that I don't disagree with anything that you just said, but I think that is part of the problem to why I used to always argue against centralized boxing or whatever the case may be. Because let's just say that they are doing these things. There's nothing to stop them. Nothing or nobody to stop them. They are going to operate with immunity. There's nobody's going to say anything. Anybody who knows anything will be fired, lose their job. Like, who's to say that they're not like what do you call it, in on it? I wouldn't be surprised. Like you said, it's business. Not to mention this. Dana White is on record for losing like $1 million at the craps table in like a day. Like, what would lead me to believe that guy is not going to do some corrupt stuff or do something in terms of betting? He's a gambler. You know, that's like leaving alcohol around an alcoholic.
He probably bets on his own fights.
Exactly.
His own fight.
Yeah, of course he bets. Like, what's he going to punish himself? Like, who's going to stop him?
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. That's what leads me to believe that the UFC might be in on it too, Pittsburgh T. Because who's going to stop him?
I mean, it could be, but I don't think they have to go to the lower level of the fighter. They can do a lot of different things to influence the fight. They can start the fight earlier. They can go in the guy's locker room, turn the AC down. They can make his living room. There's a lot of like if you're Dana White, it's a lot of stuff you can do to influence the other guy. And you know his tendencies. You know the things that he's a lot of fighters are superstitious. You can make sure he don't get his water. You can make sure his trainer ain't there at a certain time. You can make sure he don't have the pre-workout time that he normally has. You got a lot of stuff you can do to influence a fight if that's what you want to do, if you're on that level.
You know
That's
what's
the
funny
problem with
about
having
that?
that.
Every single thing that you just named, they did to Tyrone Woodley. Everything that you just named, Pittsburgh T, they did to Tyrone Woodley whenever he was at his height. So
Yeah, that's why.
And that's why I make the argument: we do not need a central body in boxing. You know, and we definitely don't need this TKO boxing league that he's trying to bring over here. Like that stuff is awful. It's a horrible idea. It's not gonna work. You know, it's not gonna be good for boxing. I don't know where people get these notions from, but they got to stop.
Look, man, we know Dana White is a snake, but anybody that signs in boxing that signs with Dana White, they deserve everything they get because this guy showed you who he is for a long time. He showed you who he is. So you don't think he's gonna come to boxing and all of a sudden he's gonna get a heart. He's gonna grow a heart. Like, you know what? I jerked fighters before, but even though I'm trying to get rid of the Muhammad Ali Act, I'm gonna do right by y'all. Come on.
I mean, we did watch. It's almost Christmas time, and we did watch the story of Ebenezer Scrooge when that.
Yeah. Now I don't think the ghost of boxing past gonna visit him and change him overnight.
What about the Grinch? What if his heart grows?
Nah, man.
What if he starts seeing his fighters in Whoville?
It always will be.
I agree. That's crazy. And this is why I preached against this guy being in boxing while everybody else celebrated. But when I seen that, I thought that was crazy, interesting and crazy at the same time. Like I could not believe that they were throwing like that. That fighters out there throwing fights, and how deep does that rabbit hole go? Is like I said earlier, is the UFC in on it? That would make it even that would make more sense to me, to be honest with you. If a guy who has a gambling addiction is actually in on the greater fix of the sport, that would make more sense to me. But that's just my conspiratorial brain, you know. Could be wrong. But it just makes sense to me, you know. But hey, who knows? Who knows all positive? That's what they always say. Who knows? We'll never know because Dana White just fired the guy that could incriminate him. But I wanted to show y'all this too before we get up out of here. Yo, T, I don't know if you know this, brother. We're gonna be in the building tomorrow at the fight.
Which fight? Which fight you going to?
We're going to Lubin versus Ortiz.
Okay, that's what's up.
Let me see.
What's up? Your dumb boy Tank that did some stupid stuff, bro. I don't understand people like him, bro. I don't get people like him, bro. Anybody in entertainment realm, I don't understand them. Who guides them?
You talking about Devontae?
Yeah, I don't understand him, bro.
So T, I'm gonna shoot him a little bell, T. I'm gonna shoot him a little bell. Only because she's suing him for something that's supposed to have happened before. So that was I didn't understand that. Like, you're suing him for something that already happened, and then why wouldn't you go to the cops? Why are you making this a civil thing? That's what kind of made me scratch my head and be like,
nah,
what?
It's still his fault.
Oh no, it's definitely his fault. It's definitely his fault, but at the same time, it's like, what is he supposed to do about some charges that's already for something that already happened?
Well, I tell you, the problem I have with this dude is that he's dating a woman. He picked her up at a strip club, bro. Like, what do you think a woman that works at a strip club? What is she about?
She's gonna be an honest
money,
woman.
right? Yeah. Like, come on, bro. Like, some stuff people do, it's like, bro, what did you expect to happen?
You already know what time it is.
Yeah, like, what did you expect to happen, bro? Like, whatever that woman does, like, come on, bro. Like, you can't put yourself in these kind of situations. This is just upright stupidity on his behalf. And I don't even think he was dating a girl that long. It was a couple months.
We're gonna have to thank the blank man of boxing now, besides Brother Ill.
Bro, Scholar, you walk in a strip club and you the top one percentile of the United States of the world, making above $20 million a year. And what you think this person working the strip club that it's all about money? What do you think she thinks, bro?
He at the top 1% of boxing. Not every boxer makes that.
Bro, the United States, the whole United States of America, he the top 1%. Ain't most people making no $20 million a year at least.
So he in the top 1% of America, and in the 0.001% of boxing that's making $1 million paydays. And that man in the strip club falling in love. That's crazy, man. Shout out to Brother Tank, man, for believing he could do the impossible. They always be dating the same girl. That'd be the craziest part about it. They all date the same women and think they're gonna make an honest woman out of the same woman, even though she didn't show that she's not gonna do it with anybody, don't matter who it is. Nick Cannon, whoever the case may be, not gonna be made an honest woman out of, and they still bump their head trying to do it. But I wanted to show this right here, Big Bird T, because y'all favorite fighter then came out the woodworks, you know, because she felt y'all, she channeled that energy from y'all love from her, you know. So Ronda Rousey done crawled from the ashes because she's seen all positive, you know, out there celebrating Alicia Bumgarner, and she said she ain't the only hottest girl in the game. So she had to step back out there and let all positive pop out and show all positive. You know, it's more hot women out there than just Alicia Bumgarner. So here we go.
Man, that's crazy, yo.
Of any sport. Like you look at WWE and they have such a reverence for their legends. And at MMA, it's like the second that you're not on top, you're not shit and you never were shit. Chuck Liddell.
All positive. I ain't gonna lie. I don't disagree with that.
I said she said some truths about WWE. That's why a lot of wrestlers don't like. Well, nobody likes in WWE now. Even Booker T, he don't talk bad about nobody. He's talked bad about it on his podcast. He's exposing a lot of the stuff that goes on. Then I don't like Ronda Rousey. I'm not here championing for her because I've never liked her. I don't like her now. I didn't like her then. I never liked her. But she's telling a lot of truth about WWE though.
Well, she, you know, the problem with her, she just she didn't hype herself. Dana White did this to her. She didn't do it to herself. Dana White and the UFC did it to her. That's the problem. She did what she was supposed to do, avoid the people that could have actually kicked her butt, and she just fought the fights that she thought she could win. She just happened to come around at a good time.
Yeah, because like I said, it wasn't much competition. Yeah, I think when Ronda Rousey came in, it was only one weight class. It was only third weight class.
I went back and looked at Ronda Rousey. She was awful.
Oh, she was. And
awful.
Her
striking was horrible.
She didn't have any competition because Dana White wouldn't sign anybody that could actually beat her. So when he signed Holly Holm, Holly Holm had just turned pro because she had been a boxer for years. So she was older and she just turned pro. She only had like 5 or 6 fights in UFC in MMA period. She just signed with the UFC. And what ended up happening, I think Gina Carano, it was Gina Carano. She said Dana White brought in the office and he gave her a list of fighters who could be a potential next opponent for Ronda Rousey. And Gina Carano said she told him, she's like, I don't know about Holly Holm because she's a pretty good boxer. She's like, you might not want to overlook her. You know what I'm saying? So, but they wanted, because they had put Ronda Rousey on the cover of the Ring magazine, they wanted her to be a boxer so bad. You know what I'm saying? So she was beating all the other girls. It's like, okay, we got to put her in the ring with a boxer. She can beat a boxer. So, because she was on the cover of the Ring, so we can crown her the queen of all combative sports. And that's how the Holly Holm fight came about.
I seen her shadow boxing all positive, and when I tell you she was god awful, and she looked confident, like she knew what she was doing. She like Conor McGregor, he looked awful shadow boxing, but they were just so confident because the UFC hype machine had made them believe that they were really the person that everybody was saying that they was. And Ronda Rousey was awful. Joe Rogan was out there talking about how she could beat Floyd Mayweather. John Jones was out there talking about how she could beat Floyd Mayweather. They were like in a street fight and in the ring. What? In a street fight? What? So and this is crazy because Shields got more boxing ability than Ronda Rousey. Better head movement, better all over striker, right? And Carissa Shields would get slapped by Floyd Mayweather. but they were really out there trying to say, well, they're around the same weight. Ronda Rousey has that the Mike Tyson aura of invincibility. You look at her fights, she wasn't even knocking people out. She was submitting with arm bars. How the hell do you get a Mike Tyson as Mystique from submitting people with arm bars?
Yeah, she had one knockout. It was Betch Correa. That's her name. It was a Brazilian chick, and that was her only knockout because Betch Correa was garbage. He's trash. But and the comment of what Frank Wright said, she did avoid. She avoided Cyborg because when they was both in Strike Force, and Cyborg won her fight in one round, and Rousey was sitting ringside. And after Cyborg won her fight, which and she was the Cyborg's next opponent, but Cyborg was the champion. She moved down to 135 to fight Miesha Tate for the title. She didn't want that fight. And after that fight, she came to the UFC, and there was only one weight class in UFC. It was only one female weight class. But Dana White, prior to that, said he would never sign a female fighter. So he brought in Ronda Rousey, and there was only one weight class, and then he brought in another weight class, then he brought another. Now we have multiple female weight classes, but before that, it was only one female weight class. And Ronda Rousey, who fought at 154 who wrestled at 154 and fought at 145 in MMA, was able to squeeze down to 135. And she said, and Cyborg was the fight to make, but she's like, nah, we're not gonna fight Cyborg at 145. We're gonna fight at 135, knowing Cyborg couldn't make 135. So then that's what that was. Dana White was protecting her. There was a lot of fights to be made, but yeah.
And not only that, so they're protecting her from dangerous fights, pushing her that she could beat Floyd Mayweather. But a lot of the non-likableness came from Ronda Rousey. Not shaking Miesha Tate hand after she beat
that was crazy. I hated that. Like, yo,
just being nasty. She was being nasty to Holly Holmes before she got knocked out.
Very nasty at the weigh-in. And at the fight. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to touch gloves. She didn't want to touch gloves. Like, she's just a very nasty person. And then if you look at the Ultimate Fighter, she was very nasty doing the Ultimate Fighter to Miesha Tate and her team. And Dennis Hallman came in, her coach. Dennis Hallman came in there. He was going to fight her coach, and she jumped in and she saved him from a beatdown that he would have gotten. But she was very nasty on the Ultimate Fighter. The Ultimate Fighter showed us who Ronda Rousey was, what her real persona is.
Yeah, but the problem with the Ultimate Fighter was Dana White went in there and he narrated. Like, people are dumb, bro. Anytime you get a narrator, that's why they have sports announcers at the fights and at these events. People will believe the announcer and the narrator before they believe their own line eyes. Like, it didn't matter what was actually going on. The same thing, all that craziness he was doing with Kimbo Slice. Like, that was so apparent. I couldn't believe people were this dumb. But it was because of the narratives and the way that they edited, and they let Dana White had a lot of jump cuts in there where he was narrating that whole season. If you go look at that season, you never really seen Dana White button in as much as you did with that old Ultimate Fighter series that they had up until the point that they had Kimbo Slice on there. He kind of like, he did a little cameo every now and then, but he was like, they had a lot of narration with him. It was just crazy. And then he was going and telling the other coach, hey man, his shoulder messed up with his foot, or whatever the hell was messed up with him. I couldn't even remember what it is off the top of my head. It was just insane. And all of that went on, and then the fight happened, and then he narrated it some more, and people just went off of the narration that he was saying. That's how dumb people are.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing, another that people might not notice, Pittsburgh T, is Dana White would also sell to everybody that I'm the big bad wolf, prove me wrong type stuff, right? So he would be like, we will never have a UFC women's champion. And magically they proved me wrong. If you go look at all the fighters that he criticized when they were Forrest Griffin, said he would never be a champion, he won the season. Rashad Evans, he won the season. Roy Nelson, he was like, I'm not that impressed by your fights. You're not that damn good. And then Roy Nelson goes out and wins the season of the Ultimate Fighter. So they were starting to do that, where Dana White would be this villain, and then the people that he criticized would win the show. They even gave Kimbo Slice another chance to get back into the competition after he was already eliminated, which, like I said, there was some suspicion around that too as well, because what he ended up doing was exposing to everybody that Kimbo Slice had arthritis in his knee. And it's like, why would you do that to your product? Why would you reveal in the sport that those leg kicks that Kimbo Slice has arthritis in the biggest season of Ultimate Fighter because he's on there along with Rampage Jackson and Rashad. It was just stupid to me as far as marketing goes. But Ronda Rousey was, I ain't gonna lie, she was kind of did wrong to a certain degree. A lot of the stuff she caused for herself, but then also they did do her wrong too as well. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh, when he's on top, oh my God, he's the best. He's the best. The second that he loses, oh, Chuck Liddell ain't shit. He never was shit. Rampage Jackson, oh my God, he's the next Mike Tyson. He's so great. Second he loses, oh, Rampage ain't shit. He never was shit.
Yeah.
So I agree with the Chuck Liddell. I don't agree with the Rampage Jackson thing. Rampage Jackson lost to like Forrest Griffin in a fight that he was robbed in, and people still thought Rampage Jackson was the next Mike Tyson. Matter of fact, there's an interview that Rampage Jackson has, and he's giving Kimbo Slice a bunch of love, and it's because Kimbo Slice gave him love as well before that. And he was, I didn't know Kimbo even knew who I was. He was like, shout out to Kimbo. But yeah, they've always called Rampage Jackson Baby Mike Tyson because I mean he had some devastating knockouts like Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? But he definitely was nowhere near explosive and had the mentality. But they've always called him that. So that's the only. And Rampage Jackson is still famous. He's more famous now that social media has moved on towards the tail end of his celebrity, you know, so he's more famous now to me with his podcast and all the stuff that he do because he's hilarious, you know what I mean, and he's able to monetize off of that personality now with the podcast and now being famous and stuff like that. So I disagree with the Rampage Jackson stuff, but as far as the Chuck Liddell, they did throw Chuck away after Chuck got beat. After Chuck was knocked out by Rampage, they didn't look at Chuck the same. The second time after he got knocked out. What's good, girl dad? What's good, bro? But yeah, I agree with some of what she's saying. Like I'll pause and say, she wasn't just up here just spitting lies. Everybody made it seem like it was complete lies. She said a lot of facts.
He loses, he's not shit. He never was shit. And I think the only reason that why MMA fans have their lips so firmly planted at the base of Khabib's cock is because he retired before he reached his limit. And if he had
all positive. What do you think about that? I ain't gonna lie. She said the only reason people are into Khabib is because Khabib retired undefeated. So they never got to see Khabib lose. If they would have got to see Khabib lose, they would have jumped off the bandwagon and said Khabib was overrated. She said
I knew people. I was doing forums, and I knew people that were they were waiting for Khabib. It's like, man, when Khabib fights a guy that can actually wrestle and has stand up, he's gonna lose. And they was waiting for this guy to lose. And when it never happened, they were pissed about it.
Yeah, but I don't agree with her that because Khabib, like, look, this is the difference between her and Khabib. Khabib, people knew his backstory. They knew a lot about Khabib. They knew about his dad. They knew about where he wrestled from, the standards and all that stuff they came from. And a lot of people bought into that because it wasn't just him that came from over there in that region. So no, I don't agree with her on that end. I think Khabib had already built the base. And we seen Conor McGregor lose, and people didn't care. Nobody cared that Conor McGregor was losing. He lost multiple fights, and they still was talking about him like he was the best thing ever.
Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm going to switch to my phone.
It's the same thing with Conor. Conor had that whole Irish thing where he had all them people, or he had a whole country behind him, and people didn't necessarily care. You had those folks, plus you had the fandom. So I don't think it's the same thing. She just didn't have that. Her stuff wasn't naturally built up like that. So she never really had that.
You hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I disagree with that because we already know Conor got the complexion Pittsburgh team. That complexion matters. If John Jones had did what he did, they would say John Jones was overrated. Or Anderson Silva. They tried to say that with Silva, that he was overrated.
Well, no, I'm talking about the fandom. I'm not talking about how good they are. I'm talking about the fandom. The fandom came from the guy being Irish and him actually, having that Irish blood and all that foolishness right there. I'm not talking about how good he is. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. I think most of the stuff that these folks be talking about be fandom and getting fans on board. Because even Kimbo, they did like a special on him where they're going through his house and he's showing like iconic pictures of fights and this and that. and he's talking about how much money he made and how big the moment is. It's a lot of stuff is about fandom. It's not about the way that we think that they should be thinking about it. In my eyes, I don't think they think about it the same.
I don't know, T. I think so. Like I said, I don't 100% agree with her, T, but I do get what she's trying to say. So Ariel Hawani said that she's blaming the fans. She's blaming the fans for her shortcomings. And I feel like she got a right to blame the fans. Look at how they're treating her.
To my credit, I've always spoke out against it, but I agree with you though. Like some people like that were fans of hers, they jumped on the bandwagon that I had, like saying, "Oh, she was never any special," after she lost. But nah, y'all was fans before that. Like the same people that was fans of hers are posting memes about it after she got. It's the same thing with Joe Rogan. Like Joe Rogan was her biggest cheerleader, and he was making fun of her ringside. I don't know if you could find it, but when she woke up and she was convulsing and shaking, Joe Rogan was making fun of her. and when he was ringside, when she woke up from the Holly Holm knockout.
Yeah, but it's part of the fans. I think that's the other part, bro. I don't understand how athletes are so sensitive, where they know they're getting money. You're in the public light. If you get knocked out, you're gonna be a meme. People gonna talk about you, and you act surprised when people are faithful. Like, get out of here, bro. Like, it's not that serious. I don't understand athletes that are that sensitive.
No, T. They went ham on Ronda. Listen, they went so bad on Ronda, I feel bad. And I don't really care, especially if I think they're a hype job.
Yeah, because she got the crap beat out of her, bro. Of course she did.
Nah, it was the after effects. They treated her bad. See, when I say she justified, she justified.
Bro, then she didn't just lose. She got beat down. Didn't she get beat down, bro? Or did I miss something? My mischaracterizing that fact.
Yeah, she got beat pretty bad.
People gonna talk trash about that, bro. You don't get beat like that on a national stage when the only thing is smoking is you and everybody watching and think nobody ain't gonna crack jokes on you. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Especially
they did more than that though.
Especially you're going around saying that you're the best and you beat up men and nobody can beat you. That's what deserving. Like Mike Tyson when he lost to Buster Douglas, he didn't get that what they gave Ronda Rousey. You know what I'm saying? But because Mike Tyson, he had beat some top quality opponents. But like when people when people lose, they like a likable person when they lose, they don't get what Ronda Rousey got. She just wasn't a likable person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Shall I go, bro?
I'm positive. So let me ask you this. If you found out tomorrow that she had an OF, you subscribing?
Well, you don't need it. No, definitely not. But the thing is, it's pictures of her leaked online anyway. She leaked her own pictures online.
Really?
Yeah, because she was. I think I forgot what's the guy she was dating. She said he was taking some pictures of her, and she found out he was taking pictures of her, some nude pictures. And she's like, before anybody can expose her, she exposed herself. She leaked her own nude pictures online. Trust me, it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing to write home about.
So wait a minute. So you seen it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hold on now, brother. You can't be doing that, brother.
She looks like an iPhone from the side.
iPhone.
Hold on now, brother. iPhone 6 was a good time in history.
Nah, man, she's flat on both sides, man. She ain't got nothing. Trust me, you ain't missing nothing.
But nah, I listen. When I say I feel bad for her, because I remember her going on the show talking about unaliving herself.
Oh yeah, but look, I call that too. I call, and I don't make fun of that because her dad did that. Her dad, he committed that when she was like a teenager. So, and I remember afterwards because when a person acts this vulgar and like they're so much better than everybody else, they're masking something. It was like the way she was acting. So, and I was like, I was on the forum. I'm like, man, right? Like, I hope she doesn't unallow herself to do something stupid over a fight. And that's when she came out later saying she was going to do that. And then everybody was tagging me like, man, like, how did you know? Well, like, how did you know that she was thinking about that? I like, well, her dad had did that. And the way she acts, she's the type of person who's been, you know what I'm saying? She's been given the world from doing nothing. So it all came crashing down. And I know, like I said, when she lost her second fight, got blown away in 40 seconds by Nunez, then she ran to the WWE. And then when the WWE, when that thing blew over, then she burnt that bridge in the WWE. She's out there talking, she'll never be able to go back there. And she out there talking about them now. So I'm like, where can she go now? I like everywhere she goes, she creates drama.
I'm gonna just say this, all positive. It wasn't drama when you were looking at them pictures, bro.
Man, I can't believe you would ask me that. You know I've seen it. Yeah, but nah, it ain't, trust me, it ain't nothing. It ain't like her, Misha Tate, all them had pictures came out, man. And like and a few other chicks, man. It ain't, trust me, it ain't.
Yeah, but that was only research. But Good Brother was only doing good research.
Yeah,
good journalist does his research. Yeah, that's it.
I wasn't interested because I don't find her or Misha Tate attractive in any way.
Yeah, ooh. That was just research, brother. That's all that was, bro. All that was research. But hey,
I probably used to be one of them purple people that outside the stoves with the robes on.
Hey, but back to your buddy, the guy that's staying about, man. I think that guy and people like him, bro. I think it's ridiculous when people mess with them kind of opportunities, and then people make excuses for it. I think it's ridiculous because it's not like you got a bunch of skills to make that kind of money. You got one way to do that, and you should protect that. That's why most of those guys that play on those pro teams, they super insulated. You can't call them. You can't do anything. So for somebody to get themselves in those kind of positions, it's pretty hard. And then once they do get in those positions, they just pay. That's the other thing. Why he didn't just pay? They just get her signed an NDA.
To be honest with you, he probably did. He don't strike me as a genius person. He probably did pay. He probably paid and didn't get it a signed NDA. And
probably
he's paying on the back end.
I mean, he's already starting off wrong by dating her. I mean, I don't know. These dudes never heard no.
Without Al Heyman, a lot of these fighters would be. It wouldn't just be Tank. We talking about legalities. We talk about all that stuff. Al Heyman, he come in clutch for a lot of these guys. No ifs, ands, or maybes about it.
I think Al Heyman helped covered up a lot of cases. A lot of the fighters doing dumb stuff. I think he's covered up a lot of stuff for people. I know Bob Arum has. Like I said, if Terrence Crawford, as great as Terrence Crawford is, Terrence Crawford's always involved in some trouble. But being that he was with Bob Arum, it was always swept under the rug. A lot of stuff he was getting into. And like we only heard about it, but we only heard about it once or twice, and we never heard about it again.
You think so? I don't think Bud. I think Bud's in the gym a lot. I don't think he out there doing that.
No, really. Because you had the dice shooting, then you had the beating up the mechanic, then you had the fight outside of Dollar General with him and it was his girlfriend fighting somebody. And he wasn't really involved in it, but he was like in the center. He was trying to break it up. But you know how people blow things over. But all this stuff got blown over because he was with Al Heyman, so it didn't really blow up like that.
It's an interesting take.
All these guys.
Yeah, but like I said, the thing is, you probably haven't even heard of the mechanic thing, did you?
I never heard of the mechanic thing.
I thought the shooting was before he became famous. Before he became
well, it was. But I'm just saying, the mechanic thing, he was already famous then. But he got in a fight. It was something over some work in a car or whatever, and he beat up a mechanic at a shop going to work on his car, and he was with Bob Arum then. But it just got swept under the rug.
But I think all of these guys. Look, the problem is that everybody, no matter what profession you're in, you're always going to need somebody that's been in that with the experience to kind of, especially with entertainment, tell you how to maneuver that. And if you look at a lot of these guys, They don't have that, and you can see it in pro sports more so than anything. Because in pro sports, if it's like a football, basketball team, they'd be like, "What are veterans at? They need some veterans." They're not saying they need good players. They need veterans there to try to maneuver the locker room and change the situation of what's going on. When you got a bunch of young people around and money, a lot of ignorant shit gonna happen, and that's just what it's gonna be.
That's why you're right about the veteran. That's why they bring in. That's why a guy like Haslam played in the NBA for so long, and he wasn't doing anything in Miami. He wasn't scoring points. He wasn't even playing in the games. But that's why they kept Haslam around. They always say he was a locker room guy. You know, so you need that veteran. Yep. You need that one veteran in the locker room to keep young guys in check.
Yeah, you can't have a bunch of
20 years without. Rolly is the locker room guy, player. But yeah, I don't know. So you know how they treat Ronda. And I'll positive. If I wasn't showing this, I'll positive. You know how to edit out whenever they put a claim on your stuff.
Nah.
You know how to do it? Okay, I won't show it then. I was gonna show the clip of Charles Barkley when he got his talent stolen by the Monstars. And he was at the gate and he was like, "Hey, could I play?" And that girl slapped his stuff and she was like, "You ain't Charles Barkley, you just a wannabe who looks like him. You shouldn't even be here. Be gone, wannabe. Be gone." That's how they treated Ronda Rousey. And I don't think she deserved it. And this is coming from a person who was very critical of Ronda Rousey throughout her career. I didn't see it. I seen her shadow box. I was like, why does this girl think she's so tough? And she's not. And why is credible guys like a Joe Rogan, John Jones, you know what I mean, arguably one of the best fighters on the planet, why are they going along with this delusion that she's the best fighter on the planet and she could beat up Floyd Mayweather like in a street fight?
And she was sparred with certain guys. These guys would be like 100, 170, 180 pounds. She was sparred with these guys, and they were letting her submit them.
Same thing with Carissa Shields. See, and this is what happened.
MMA guy.
This is what happens. This is what happened all positive and stuff like in situations like this. What happens is, and I do this with my son, so I know it's true. So like if he's wrestling me, I'll let him get the better of me so that it'll build his confidence because I know he needs that. He's at the confidence builder age, right? And they do that for the women because they do it because they want them to be the best version of themselves, but also because they don't really believe that they can hurt them. So even if they might bump it up to 50%, they're never gonna go over 60 or 70% because they know that it would not be fair. So what tends to happen is you got a Carissa Shields get in the ring. I'd have been in there with the best of them. L. Spence, you've been in there with the names. They wasn't trying their best when they were in there. So the moment that somebody doesn't agree to go 50% or below and they catch them with a hook, Carissa Shields think he got something in his gloves. No, it's called a man fist. That's a man fit. And it's the same thing with Ronda Rousey. That when Dana White was like, I BS you not. Ronda Rousey was at the theater. And this is a true story. It's a true story. Anytime you say that, it's not true, right? The true story. It's like the movies, solely based on a true story. It's not a real story, right? Loosely based, I mean. But he was like, when she was in the theater, two dudes came up and started talking crap to her. She beat both of them up. Both of them. Yeah. And I'm just thinking like,
they said 4 dudes.
Are you sure? I thought it was 2.
Yeah, I'm positive. She said it was 4 guys she beat up in the movie theater for talking trash, starting trash with her. 4 guys, same time.
And you want to know what's the craziness in that? It would be hard for Mike Tyson to beat up 4 dudes at one time.
4 guys, exactly.
And it was Mike Tyson. You expect me to believe that Ronda Rousey, who I thought was an overrated UFC fighter, was beating up 4 guys? Like, what were they, midgets? I think she was struggling with 4 midgets.
I don't know what they were, man, but I would buy that story, man. Maybe it's 4 toddlers. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way it's 4 adults. Even 14s, I think, can beat her up. But yeah, so that story was sold to everybody, and that made everybody have resentment. But the reason why I do feel bad for it is because the people who are now leaning on the overrated side, they wasn't having the resentment then. Now, me and All Positive have been adamant about her BS and her hype and the hype train and all this stuff all the way through the journey. The people that are now on this side, which the ones she's criticizing, which I agree with her on, they were on the bandwagon. They were like, "Oh yeah, I think Ronda Rousey did it. Yeah, she beat up 4 dudes." And now they're like, oh, she was a hype job. It's like, how do you go from one thing to the other so fast? Why would you believe in myths and unicorns and dragons, whenever the UFC was telling you to believe in it, but the moment she get beat and the UFC treats her bad and everybody else treat her bad, now you're like, oh, no, she ain't nothing. I agree with her. I agree with her on that. Plus, she got them pictures out there.
Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was...
At the end of the day, that's all everybody wants. Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed?
If he kept fighting until he reached his limit, everybody would be like, oh, Khabib ain't shit. He never was shit. And they're like that with everybody. Like, name one person.
I mean,
Brock ain't shit. He never was shit. Name one past champion that has that.
Well, no, that is not true. That is not true. They do talk stuff about Brock Lesnar, but like I said, it's warranted because Brock Lesnar was a guy that got pushed to the forefront with 2, 3, 4 fights. Wasn't proven. CM Punk is the same thing. It's like Brock Lesnar. See, here's the thing about it, and I tell people in UFC this all the time, but they do not listen. Every fight starts off on your feet. Doesn't matter how good you are on the ground. Every fight starts on your feet. And in the same way in boxing, a blind punch hits you, and if you don't see it, it knocks you out. It's the same thing in UFC. It's the exact same thing. So when you have a person that's a superior striker, they're gonna reign in the sport. They got to learn a piece of jiu-jitsu and be a champion because every fight starts off on the ground. Ronda Rousey has never had good striking ever at any point in her career. For them to even be promoting her as dominant is absolutely laughable because she didn't even have a piece of boxing. You know what I mean? Same thing with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was a horrible striker. To have all the muscles and his muscles got muscles, that dude sucked at striking. All he was a big guy, a wrestler.
He had no stamina.
Well, remember with Brock Lesnar, he blew dirty on 2 piss tests, and the last one, Mark Hunt ended up suing Dana White because he said that he knew before the fight that he was dirty before he let him in.
They knew before the fight he was dirty.
Definitely did.
Yeah, he let him fight anyway, and he ended up suing him. So, I don't think some of the stuff, some of these parallels with some of these guys, like Brock Lesnar got the gold card, bro. He definitely got the gold card of just having a name, and he didn't have to perform much. They rolled out the red carpet, and they let him bounce back and forth between wrestling and UFC whenever he felt like it because he brought the views.
Yep.
As they should. That's how a white man's supposed to be treated. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's I disagree with her on that.
The kind of respect that the current champions do. It's really sad because I think it encourages people to try and get out while they're peaking and taking all of that equity with them instead of passing it on to whoever's next.
Now I will say this all positive. That analogy that she just gave was perfect. I ain't never heard a boxer even put it like that. She said that fighters basically are forced to want to retire undefeated in the UFC because they don't want to be looked at and viewed as hype jobs, and they're robbed of passing the equity down. They all do it. Sugar Ray Leonard did it with Terry Norris. And also what's the dude name? Hector Camacho. Hector Camacho was beat when he was older by Oscar De La Hoya. The equity keeps going. That's literally how you build stars. There's 2 ways to build stars naturally. You got to put a star on a card, a feature card where there's a bona fide star like a Mike Tyson, get him exposure and let him just blow over the dude, or you can put him up against a legend and let him have him beat the legend up and he gets the legend's clout. So that's 2 ways to build a champion. So the way she put it was 100% genius in my mind. But what you can say in my mind.
Well, why she didn't pass it on? Why didn't she go against that and do the opposite when she left? She ain't passed no torch to nobody.
Oh no, she did. Yeah, she definitely did. Took the torch from her.
Man, she got beat up. She ain't passed nothing. She got her butt whooped, bro. It wasn't her passing anything. It got took from her, bro. That was giving your lunch money. That's what that was.
Yo, you want to talk about why I feel bad for her, Pittsburgh T? When I went to the comments section, the comments said, I'm finna go watch the Amanda fight. I'm finna go watch the Holly Holmes fight for the 1,000th time. They were putting this, and that was like the number one comment in the comment section.
Yeah, it's approaching the anniversary, November 15th. It's 10-year anniversary.
I ain't gonna lie. When this first happened, it was one of the trains I was happy to see derail, the hype trains.
In my life.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but I will say it was one of the trains I like to see.
It's one of the best days of my life, man. Definitely top 10.
Damn, all positive. Was that before or after the pictures came out, bro? Was that before?
Definitely after the pictures came out for research purposes.
Yeah,
you know, like the way the pictures look.
You know, she was the first.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
On the cover of the Ring magazine. You know that, right?
Yeah.
He is the first female before Clarissa Shields. They put up there before, and Clarissa Shields had a gold medal. Clarissa Shields was the first female American to win a gold medal, and they put Ronda Rousey on the cover.
Yeah, it's insane.
UFC fighter, MMA fighter before Clarissa Shields, and then they started facing the Desmond De La Hoya on the Ring magazine, and they started facing the backlash now. And then they said, "Okay, we're gonna put Clarissa Shields on the cover now." And the backlash was,
we was just bullshit. Yeah, that's crazy work. So yeah, I ain't gonna lie about it. I was a little bit happy, but then when I seen she played on my heartstrings all positive. But when I seen her,
no man, she had that coming. Man, look, Ronda Rousey is a terrible person. You know what I'm saying? I would feel sorry for losing if she wasn't such a bad person. Like when Holly Holm lost her first fight to Miesha Tate, I felt bad for Holly Holm because Holly Holm's such a nice. She's a very good person, very nice. Even people that know Holly Holm, I think it was one female fighter talking about. She's like, Holly Holm makes me look like a bitch. Like she is so nice. Because when Holly Holm, she was training to fight Betch Correa, is a female name. That's her name, Betch Correa. They were actually sitting in a sauna together, cutting weight, and they were going to fight in a few days. Holly Holm's not a bad person, so you don't see people clowning her when she gets beat like that. Because it's just her character, not what she is. But nobody likes Ronda Rousey.
Agree. I mean, maybe her family love her. I don't know. I don't know. Damn, nobody kind of harsh. That's why I feel bad for her. Nobody, you say nobody likes her.
That brother did extensive research. He spent hours digging through. He forced himself to watch her nude pictures, brother. You can't discount his experience, brother.
Yo, this all positive. Looking at the pictures, Pittsburgh too.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, she leaked them herself.
Yeah, that brother did research, brother. We can't discount the brother that did research, that brother. We got to take this experience that we got.
I just wanted to see it. I mean, I wasn't fascinated.
Yeah,
like I said, she
Nah, you were fascinated, brother. You were fascinated, brother.
I not find Ronda Rousey attractive, but like I said, if they're there, I'm gonna look like if Oprah has some pictures online, I'm gonna look.
Oprah, nah, brother, you went too far now. Brother, you don't went too damn far now, brother. You don't went too damn far. All right, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Take up the mantle. I wanted to retire undefeated because I was so afraid of like, oh, everything that I've accomplished is going to be nothing if I ever lose. So I have to retire undefeated.
That was not a bad perspective. I think most fighters who get in this, what in Holyfield that was like, I realized the only way I could be 2-time champion or 3-time champion is I got to keep losing. And it's like, who want to keep losing in order to get the record?
Well, that's why I've always said that Bernard Hopkins is a better all-time middleweight than Sugar Ray Robinson. And I've always said that. And it was like, well, Sugar Ray was a 5-time champ. I said this decades ago. And it's like, well, Sugar Robinson's a 5-time champ. I'm like, well, he's a 5-time champ because he kept losing. He kept losing getting the belt back. But no, Hopkins didn't keep losing and getting the belt back.
Agreed.
Man, but nah, bro. But you don't feel. Nobody feels sorry for no millionaire athlete, bro. Like, nobody that, bro. That, bro. Listen, this is equivalent to what's the guy named Tyreek Hill, Tyreek, the cheetah guy from the Dolphins. Talking about when he was at that he didn't want to be there. He lost the love for the game or something. Man, nobody want to hear that, bro. You get paid. Shut the hell up. You get paid millions of dollars. John Morant just says ignorant shit like that, bro. Nobody feels sorry for you when you making that kind of money and fans are paying it. Like, you ain't really got no struggle. when people equate you being a millionaire, like you might actually have some struggle, but you're not gonna get public sympathy, bro. You're just not gonna get it.
I disagree, T. I think that just because you have money don't mean that you don't have problems. And a lot of these people don't be having guidance. Like a John Morant. Man, come on, man. We could look at John Morant. Well, at least I could. And I've already definitely put him in the category, of a YN. He definitely a YN to me. He fits the profile.
Look, you gotta understand John Morant. His dad thinks John Morant's dad thinks he's 20 years old. So when you have that, you know what I'm saying? You don't have any guidance. Just like Justin Bieber's mom. Justin Bieber's mom had him at a very young age. So now, instead of her being a parent, she's out there on the road with him, living through her teens and her youth. That's why he ended up the way what he's doing. So when you don't have guidance of a parent, that's what you end up as. You know what I'm saying?
But there's not going to be any fans that are feeling sorry for you, bro. Like when the football union goes strike against the owner, nobody feels really sorry for these guys. It's like over this. You just don't get public sympathy like that.
I'll say this. I don't know. I just have a little bit more grace. I know human beings gonna be human beings, and just because they're rich don't mean they gonna all of a sudden be smart. Look at Tank. Tank might, he might have set the Mayweather promotion / Al Heyman business back 20 years, because this was gonna be their intro into Netflix. Tank's first time fighting on Netflix, PBC fighter, first time fighting on Netflix, especially after being rumored that Amazon is going to discontinue their relationship with them or fight in combats or whatever the case may be, which I don't even understand that, because I seen a fight the other day Amazon was promoting. I think it was DAZN. So maybe they just got offered more money. I don't know. Whatever it can. Maybe Turkey blackballed him. I don't know. Well, I do know. He probably blackballed him. But this was going to be big for Al Heyman and PBC if Tank Davis would have went through with this fight. Getting on Netflix, forming a relationship with Netflix. If the YouTubers on here that are always, in Tank's underwear, if those guys would have went over there and it would have transferred to a whole bunch of views, that would have been big business for Gervonta Tank Davis, but he blew it. He got to the 1 yard line and did what Deshaun Jackson used to do with the football.
Yeah, but that guy, bro, he was always what he was gonna be. The problem when you go on those big networks like that, like Disney, they have this ethical code of conduct where you can't do certain stuff, but they try. And they just don't right, wrong, or indifferent. They just don't want the perception of certain stuff. So they're not even gonna take the risk. Like the public can be outraged all they want. You can't go on ESPN. Remember when Paul Pierce got dropped on his off day where he shot like a little 10-second video of him partying with some
the female, that was crazy. He got fired for that.
Yeah, but that's Disney. That's ESPN. That's owned by Disney. Dropped them. They're not going to tolerate certain stuff. So like certain guys are never going to be able to last in that kind of environment. It's only a matter of time. Same thing with Michael Irvin. With the whole hotel incident, same crap.
Man, I'm telling you, man, yo. Speaking of Michael Irvin, yo, that might be. I know a lot of people like the what's the guy named Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharp. My favorite interview is Michael Irvin, man. That dude is hilarious. Man.
Oh my God, he's so animated. Yeah, he's hilarious. You're right.
Michael Irvin said, "I was trying." When he said about the White House, he said, "I was trying to do the right thing the wrong way." Yo, that was hilarious when he said that.
He just be so animated in his interview. Yeah, he is built for it. Like, I'm surprised he ain't started his own podcast. That's another one ain't got no good business sense.
I think he has. I think he's got one.
He's always gonna be featured. He don't need no feature. He can do his own.
Personal himself though. You know who else is one too? Mad Max. They used to play on the Houston Rockets with Vernon Maxwell.
He's always on all the smoke. He need his own thing. Yeah,
that dude. You can sit there and watch him all day long. Like all day, like all day and all night. His stories and the way he's telling them. That's a Michael Irvin 2.0 just for basketball. And mixing in the drug. And but he's a little bit different because unlike Michael Irvin, he admits to all the drug use. He ain't trying to act like he was no saint. Like he tell you, yeah, man, I smoked a bunch of weed for that game. Like he ain't trying to hide nothing. So that dude there, man.
Yeah, so the card tomorrow, I'm looking at the what you call it right now. I'm gonna screenshot this and post it on my community tab. If anybody have any questions y'all want me to ask these people tomorrow, y'all let me know. We're gonna be in the building, man. We're gonna be in the building. You know, and I know what y'all are thinking before y'all even say it. Of course I'm changing. I've already started changing. You know, when the kids call me dad, I make them call me DA, you know, because it's like the boxer scholar, you know, just got multiple meanings. I've already started to change around the house. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna change in real life. So I just want y'all to get ready for it.
What's the max those glasses recording in?
They didn't come. That's what I was gonna tell you. So I ordered them to go pick them up. They said they were in the store, ordered them and paid for it. Now they was like, oh no, they don't have none, but don't worry, we're gonna send it. I'm like, I needed it kind of fast because I was gonna use it for this fight. But I got the transitional lens. It's regular, it's regular color, but it's transitional.
Because I need something more than 3 minutes, man. It scored 3 minutes at a time, but I can keep starting.
Oh no, that's what you asked me. Let me see. Let me look at that real quick. Let me see. Do you know Pittsburgh T the Gen 2 glasses? How much they record?
You talking about the Meta glasses, right? You talking about the Metas?
Yeah. They increase the length, right? How much you can record?
Not much. I mean, it's not much because remember, they can only put like so much storage on the glasses, bro. It's a small ass frame. Like they can't. They can only put so much. They would have to put it. They would have to put the side of it big enough to put an SD card in it, really. And they don't want to increase the size that big, so the storage ain't that big. They have to have the storage big enough to
in the
have
middle
many.
where the nose go. That's the perfect spot.
They got something that got a little bit more, but you know you got to kind of like hack those to get the little get that light that they have, because they got a light that it comes on, right? So you gotta you just look YouTube and you'll see it. It's a way that you can put the black tape over it so you can't see the light, but you have to do something so that it still records, because it needs that light in order to record by default. But it's a way that you can put like some black electrical tape over the light, because there's a light that comes off the right side of the glasses. As soon as you hit record, it just starts blinking. So everybody knows you fucking record. But if you take a piece of electrical tape over it and put it over that light, then the person won't know. It won't be so apparent. But there's something you have to do in order for it to still work.
And the good part about it, what I use, like I don't have to have them over my eyes. So when I'm taking pictures, I got the glasses above my forehead, on my forehead, and I'm still able to take pictures, and it doesn't interfere with the recording when I'm ringside.
All positive. I ain't gonna lie to you. These Oakleys look bad. You know I was a baseball player. These Oakleys look cold as hell. That's crazy. But what I'm gonna say is, it says that it increased the recording, but when I click on it, it won't give me no details. So that's probably a lie.
Probably did a little bit. I mean, unless they put a mini SD card in there, I don't see them increasing it that much. Because the biggest storage jump from that would be a SD card, or if you ever connect to a cloud where you can sync it up to a cloud where it just constantly dumps it.
Well,
or you can have it go to your phone.
The small SD micro card should be able to fit in the glasses. The SD micro card is very small. It's not even an inch. It's probably like an inch long.
So I'm curious to why some of them is like, so this one say 379, it's a Gen 2, but the other one say 459. What is the difference between them?
Probably the lens like
transitional lens.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah,
and the lens. Because they have some that are regular and they got extra large ones too. They got extra large, the regular, and then the lenses themselves cost a lot of money. If you get them tinted, you get a transition, you get different colors on the lenses, or if you just get them straight clear.
Let me see. I wanted them for this fight, T, but the devil was busy.
Best Buy. You ain't go to Best Buy? Best Buy, yeah.
I ordered them online.
Oh, okay. That's
I
one thing they still got.
I got mine from Best Buy. I got it on the spot because the dude had to walk me through it because I didn't know anything about it.
That's what I got. The Ghost Town, but that's one thing they actually have there. High-end electronics, they still have there.
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't been to
That's,
Best Buy so damn long.
that's all I go there for, man. Like I said, the high end stuff is my explain to because, like I said, Best Buy is basically a window shopper store. You go look. Here's another thing. I thought it was fake. To someone they pointed out to me, like you can't access Amazon on your phone in Best Buy. Actually, you can, but you got to use your own data. If you use Best Buy's Wi-Fi, they won't let you access Amazon. They'll kick you off. I've been in the store and I've done that, and I've tried it. Actually, yes, that's true. If you go into Best Buy, you try and use their Wi-Fi, and you try to get on Amazon, you get kicked off.
God damn.
So then what it says, our pod says Generation 2 has upgraded the camera from 12 MP ultra wide, supporting 3K ultra wide HD videos, 30 frames per second. It said the battery life has increased to 8 hours.
Hey, that's a
And
lot.
the quality means you're visibly, well, the resolution. It don't sound like they increased the recording. It just sounds like they just made recording length is still capped. Yeah. Record limit of 60 seconds until an update. It may be extended to longer. So
You
yours
might
is
be
the
able to
update, all
to your
positive.
phone, though. Yeah, but you might be able to get it to go to your phone, though, Scholar. You might be able to get it to go to your phone. Yeah.
I got a link.
Yeah.
To my phone. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get it to go to your phone and you can just yeah.
Oh,
You got
so if you connect it to your phone, you can get longer record.
No, you could just do multiple recordings. Yeah.
Yeah,
You do multiple recordings. Yeah.
Because that's what.
And you
Remember,
put
I
it to the
sent you the
cloud.
thing, and when I was in Barnes and Noble, when I sent you the clip, I sent it straight to my phone, and then I just sent it to you on the in the text, the video.
But what I'm gonna say, hey Marky Dan, we're gonna be in the building tomorrow, bro. We're going to the Ortiz fight, man. You got any predictions for that?
I got Virgil Ortiz.
So you're going against the brother?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're going against the brother, is what you're telling me.
I mean, yeah.
So why you criticize me for doing that? When I did that, Marky Dan called me anything but a child of God. And I think it was, who was it? It was somebody that we knew was gonna lose. Who was it? It better not have been Derek Chisora. I think it was Chisora or Dylan White. It was Dylan White, I believe. I can't remember. And I was like, bro, come on, bro. You was like, nah, man, you can't go get your fellow man. You can't be doing that.
I remember that.
And now you up here going against Lubin.
Hey, listen.
I'm thinking on
what it
too,
is,
man.
It is what it
But
is.
Lubin is definitely a live dog, but
You know what I'm saying? I'm allowed to be inconsistent every once in a while. It is what it is. Go ahead.
I don't think Lubin's a live dog. I don't think Lubin has a chance. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Lubin's best years are behind him. I think that even in his one fight that we would have to go to would probably be the fight with Fedor, right? In that fight, he was beat around the ring a lot. Like he was hitting that dude with everything he had and just barely stunning him. And it's like it just showed me his punching power is not there. And it's like, well, he's older now, and he's more war torn. Even if he dropped Virgil, because that's a possibility. Virgil does get reckless in there. So he could drop Virgil. Even if he drops Virgil, Virgil's going to get up and continue to press the fight. Well, I just don't see it. I don't see Lubin doing anything. I look at it like this. You know, I remember Sandy Sadler. You know, Italians got stories for days, right? But what's good, Certified Player? But I remember Sandy Sadler. I'm not Sandy Sadler. Willie Pep. Willie Pep was telling a story, and he said that one day he was about to fight an amateur, right? And this amateur was a skinny black dude, right? And he said he was nervous because he was black and he was about to fight him. He told his handlers like, "Hey man, you sure this gonna be a for sure win?" And they said, "Look, Willie, you think we will put you in the ring with anybody that's actually good?" He said the guy was Sugar Ray Robinson. He said the guy was Sugar Ray Robinson. So I take that story because Italians, like I said, they got stories, and I put it to Virgil. Do y'all really think, right? Boots and them is talking about sitting ringside for this fight, right? Do y'all really think that Virgil and his team chose this guy because they thought they wanted to get upsetted, so they couldn't make make a fight between Boots?
Yeah,
if you look
I
at how
agree with
Virgil is moving at 54, look at the tough fights that he's took. You
I
think that
think
this
he
fight,
terrified of Boots. I think he terrified of Boots.
man, get out of here.
Just being
Elaborate.
honest.
Elaborate.
I mean, it's my opinion. You heard what his dad came out and said.
What'd he say?
You ain't gonna make us fight nobody.
Yo, Marky Dan, I'm gonna say this. I don't know if y'all subscribe to Bruce Vane, but that's my homie. He did a great video, and this is why I subscribe to his channel. I don't agree with everything he says, but he does his due diligence, and you got to always respect that. He basically brought up Bozy Ennis's other two sons in their boxing careers and how they didn't pan out, and how they were knocked out, and how they were moved too fast, and that's why he's so overly bearing with Boots.
Okay, I didn't know that. It makes sense now.
I mean, I knew his
it.
brothers
It
were
makes
boxers. I knew one of them probably got put to bed.
He got two of them. Yeah, one of them was knocked out. I think it was. I want to believe it was Arthur Abraham, or he was in that division. I can't remember. One of those guys. One of those guys that he ended up getting derailed by. But it makes sense why they're so protective of Boots now, because they don't want to make the same mistake. He's the pupil. He the baby. He the cash cow. He all them things. So it makes sense to me.
You think Boots will go to bed against Virgil?
No, I think Boots should believe in what we see, but he don't. I think he's a good talent. I just don't think he believes it.
Yeah.
So you think he thinks that Virgil could put him to bed potentially?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, all positive.
I think now whether it happened, no. But I think that he doesn't believe when he looks in the mirror, he don't see the slow motion and all this stuff that we see with him, the talent. He sees, oh, I might get beat, or oh, I might get derailed, oh, I might get exposed.
I might get put to bed.
Yes, he sees those things, whether it's a reality or not, and his doubts come into play, and that's why we'll never see Boots' full potential, in my opinion.
I think, yeah, that's just exactly what I was about to say. In your opinion, you hater.
Oh no, everybody know it, bro. Everybody know I can't stand Boots. Everybody know there'll never be no shortage in
your
Boots
brother.
slander. Yeah.
Hey, well, you got upgraded, Scholar. He didn't call you a cool. He just called you a hater, dog. You got to upgrade right there, bro. You got to take the wins when you get them, dog.
Yeah, I appreciate that, young Mark.
He's still a boxing Republican in my eyes.
There you go.
Hear how you talk about his brothers.
Which one? You gotta be specific.
There you go.
Because everybody is my brother now. Don't be calling everybody my brother now.
Nah, I'm talking about the blacks.
Oh, the blacks. Oh, well, let me show you this. Let me show y'all this. Let me go down memory lane. All positive. I don't know if you ever remember this. I was gonna do this the other day. Father-son duos in boxing. Y'all remember this statement right here?
The band, father, son, banded. Like your father cannot be your trainer. Like your father, he can be in the corner or whatever, but he cannot be your trainer. I think it should be banned. Yeah. Honestly, man, because you just said it. You just said it right there, man. The relationship between the son and the father is horrible. And when they get in, sometimes you get in these tough matches, and you see these fathers not stepping in and stopping fights. Letting the fights go on too soon or too late, and then financially, I mean. I don't even want to go down that road. I'll go down that road another time, man, with you guys, as far as, fighters being that possession of their fathers and so on and so forth. That sucks, man.
How y'all feel about that?
Well, to a certain degree, he's correct. To a certain degree, he is correct. Because you might.
Yeah, that's the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's one of the most idiotic things he ever said, bro. You can't. Like, think of it like this, bro. Like. That we only do this in this sport, bro. When you a free person in this world as a citizen of America, you turn 18, you free to do whatever you want, bro. And like some of the greatest athletes we've ever had, it was the daddy that was pushing them and making them do it, and do a time period that we know damn well that these kids didn't want to do the shit. The greats are the greats. It's usually what you see. You don't see these kids where they just waking up and they just want to be like that. You see the overbearing parent. that's making sure that that kid is staying out there practicing and doing this stuff at a ridiculous rate. And at some point, the overbearing parent was the coach on the team coach. Look at the ball brothers. Like, you see this all the time. So no, I think that's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard somebody say. Don't ban promoters, but ban daddies. I got it.
I think he's been a little bit extreme because Timothy Bradley's a product of father son, and I think he's reflecting it based on.
Boxing. Now Pittsburgh T is a boxing liberal, and I salute him for it, because that was an idiotic thing said by this man Timothy Bradley.
Elaborate.
Don't ban promoters, ban fathers.
So, brother, that's all you got? That's all you got? I agree with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was a statement to agree with Pittsburgh T. And now you're about to play this clip with another father that's extremely involved in his son's career.
Yeah, I'm going somewhere with it though, Marky. Then watch how I piece this up. So this is an overbearing father right here.
This is the best fighter in the world. I mean, in my view, people say I'm crazy, but take into consideration that I've been a former participant of this particular business. And I'm telling you that this man is going to be better than Floyd Mayweather Jr. I hear Floyd talking about other guys who are going to be kingpins.
How did that pan out?
I mean, the man's still fighting.
Yeah, and guess what? That son ain't never had no tank allegations. You don't never see none of these overbearing parents with his son running around doing all this crazy stuff. You just don't really see that.
True. That's not true.
You really don't see it on a large scale. Yeah, you got a couple, but for the most part, you don't really see it. And you got to think, a lot of them kids.
I'm talking about Eubank specifically. He had some crazy stuff come out about one of his sons.
Oh, I don't know. I ain't hear it. I mean, if he is, I don't know. I'm talking on a larger scale. And you got to think. Yeah, you got to think on a larger scale too. Most of these parents know how to get into the space of their kids better than any other person. So, I mean, it is what it is. And they're going to take, a lot of times they drag these kids further than they normally would have went. Just like how you was talking about Boots with his other sons. Like, they know better, or more so than anybody else, their kids' deficiencies. Now, you can say they can overcalculate, but they got a pretty good grasp on what's going on.
I don't know, Pittsburgh. I disagree. I think that what Tim is talking about is a good point and an interesting point to talk about. Only solely because the fathers get too involved in the careers where they either overshadow the fighter, and he'd be a little bit timid about showing the world who his personality is. Like, you go look at it, all the fighters who lead their dads when they retire, they go crazy with their opinions. And they go crazy with their opinions because they're not used to having opinions. Because the father, they just become too overbearing. They want to be in every. I remember whenever we was in high school, Pittsburgh team, we had a running back that was cold. He was like Adrian Peterson. That dude was raw, right? And I remember this dude came. And he was one of those overbearing fathers. And he used to like pull his son off of the bus on the game day and just do all this weird stuff that nobody cared about because they had a guy on there who was extremely cold, way better than his son. But he thought that his son was the best person on the team. But I wanted to show you this, Pittsburgh team. I wanted Marky Dan to stay on here so I could show him how to drive. You know what I mean? He don't know how to drive yet.
Excited, overexcited. This is the fifth round. Sixth round. Fifth round coming up. Sixth round coming up. Sixth round. That's good. You know that.
I think what really happened, particularly in the first fight with Vernon Forrest, when Shane was seriously hurt, and Jack Mosley actually pretty much relinquished the corner and gave it to Cassius Green, who really took control of the center of the ring between rounds. That, I think, sent a signal throughout the boxing world that really hurt Jack's image a lot, because what really he was going through, he was actually in a state of shock. He was worthless in that fight, but it's kind of normal because here's a man who's been with his son since he's a little kid. He's never saw him like this. When he sees this kid hurt, staggered, he actually was really just in a state of shock and not able to deal with that situation. So in that case, your Cassius Green, who has been with him really in all of the fights, took over the corner for the most part. And from that point on, it was talked throughout the whole boxing industry that maybe Jack wasn't really as strong enough to handle.
And we saw something
Larry?
like that with Tito Trinidad and his dad. When Tito had problems with Bernard Hopkins, suddenly his father had never seen this kind of a thing. and there was no adjustment. And indeed, after Winky Wright schooled Trinidad, his father said that he would never train him again if indeed he ever came back.
What about personal?
So in that situation, uh, in that situation, uh, both of the fathers froze up because they had never seen their sons dominated to the extent of that. So it's like it's a bunch of what do you call it? It's a bunch of things into going into a father-son duo, you know, as far as like that's why I'm really shocked at the ones that are successful now. I guess they learn from the mistakes of the past, but there's a lot that goes into it, and that's the reason why it don't work out. You know, there's a video that I have on my channel. See, the reason why I have these clips all positive, you know, you're gonna be proud of me because I ain't saying no names, but I was supposed to debate somebody. And that's why I had all those clips together. But at the last second, they chickened out on the debate because they kind of knew what was up. Like they knew what was fit to happen with the debate. Because, you know, I don't just say stuff just to say it. If I say it, you know, I haven't seen Eddie Fudge say it, Emmanuel Stewart say it, or whatever the case may be. So, you know, if this was like golf or something, then maybe. But because the fight is physical, because there's a lot of money involved, because there's a lot of snakes that's in the sport of boxing, you have to be ultra careful, in my opinion. And when you're dealing with a boxing, I just think it's a completely different ball game. I think it's too many snakes. Then the father starts to act like the fighter after knockouts. You know, it's no different than the fans. If you go look at the fans, if they're a Deontay Wilder fan and he goes in there and gets a knockout, they start acting as if they knocked the person out themselves. It's no different. The fathers start acting like, look at Bill, look how Bill acting. And here's a crazy part about it. I don't think Devin Haney has much of a chance to win, but he does have a chance in this fight. But the Debo Dev and all this other stuff, like that YouTubers be doing, that's cringy to me. It's cringy because it's like they gotta fill content, so they coming up with names and trying to be entertaining and wacky and all this other stuff. But to me, it's just corny. That's my personal opinion. It's corny to me. But I want to show you this last video. So like I said, so Pittsburgh T, I don't know if you know these two guys. These are one of the like the forefathers of boxing right here. Manuel Stewart, well, of course you know Manuel Stewart, but Eddie Fudge was before him. This is what they have to say about father-son duos in boxing.
Never can leave the gym when he has to go home with his coach, because even when he's at home, when he may want to watch a TV program that he wants to watch, like in my case, I'm saying, you know, you should be watching a boxing film. He wants to go out and play basketball, which he could do if his dad wasn't his coach, and his dad goes out and says you shouldn't be playing basketball because you're going to hurt your ankle. You got a fight coming up next week.
That's one thing I don't do today. I don't bring boxing home. I don't come home and harangue him about how bad he looked in the gym, how he sparred or whatever. I tell him before we leave now, you got to go home and rock salt your hands. You got to put some rock salt in the top of your nose. You got to, rub down, put some Epsom salt in the tub and soak. You ran hard today, you got to rest. And then after we get home, I leave it up to him. Now, he's got to do it.
Me and my father, when we come home from the gym, we really never talk about it, because what I do, either I'm going somewhere or I'm going down in the basement. The training is over. I'm going down in the basement, watch TV, go relax, go to one of my friends' house and something like that.
Objectivity is lost. And the father cannot be objective as far as his son is concerned. He's subjective. He's into the thing.
Throw the body shots here. That's it. Throw the body shots here.
And it's emotion that takes over.
Your trainer is one person, your father's another person. And I look at Jamal when he's fighting, I look at him as a fighter, not as my son. I allow it to happen one time with my oldest son. I let my son's father got in the corner, and it caused him to get down. stopped in a fight because my feelings became in the fight, and then I started second guess myself and making decisions. And from that experience, I never allowed it to happen again.
Most dads who are involved, they're so close that they get too much on the extreme one way or the other. Either they believe that their son can beat everyone in the world and they overmatch him, or they become too protective because of it being his own flesh and blood. He just feels that, I'm not going to take any chances, and I don't want to see my own son hurt. So it's a very sensitive situation.
And that's why I mean. So with that being said, all positive and Pittsburgh T, I agree. You see everything that those old boxing minds said is evident in the sport today. You take a guy like Danny Garcia. He's one of the guys that the father thought could beat everybody, and that's why Danny Garcia has a bunch of losses towards the end. And he was also protected. He was a hybrid, but you got Mikey Garcia is a prime example. Mikey Garcia was a guy that was protected, and that's why he ended up losing to somebody like the likes of Sandor Martin, because he picked and choose when he was going to fight and who he was going to fight and stuff like that. I never thought Mikey Garcia. I always thought he was overrated. I never thought Mikey Garcia was that guy. But that's one guy on that extreme where he's protected. Then you have somebody who's overmatched. You know what I mean? Devin Haney. Bill Haney think Devin Haney could beat up everybody in the world. Now he's going to get matched with Brian Norman Jr. He was willing to accept Ryan Garcia money for not making weight because he thought he was going to win the fight anyway. He even came up with a game plan to knock Ryan Garcia out because he believed that his son could beat anybody. So he's on the opposite spectrum of that. So, these old guys, they don't just be talking, man. They be knowing what they talking about when they be saying certain stuff like that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I go ahead.
Brother must too many to drink because what he was saying didn't make any sense, bro. I mean, I get there's an extreme case of that, but like you got to think about a lot of the kids that don't even make it that far, that are doing like just going to little tournaments, they go on the circuits, they never make it that far. That's good for them because those kids, for the most part, even the ones that we could say that their careers don't necessarily pan out, like I said before, you just don't see them getting in a lot of problems outside of boxing or any sport. You really don't see them having outside problems besides them being a sim. You just don't see it.
We missed the first part of that, Pittsburgh. Your phone was going on.
Oh, I mean, most people ain't gonna. Most father-son duos, they never gonna make it to that level. So if they're never gonna make it to that level, it's just a father looking out for his kid. Because look, some of the dirtiest stuff you can ever see, and some of the most trifling stuff you ever see, is high school and AAU. People lose their mind when they do that stuff, bro. That stuff is vicious. It's super competitive among parents. They do a lot of crazy stuff, and they fill kids' heads up with a lot of stuff. And a lot of things that these adults that we're talking about now in entertainment, that's where the base of all that stuff came from. So some parents are going to protect it. Some are going to promote it. But just to throw a kid out there with no protection, just a bunch of strangers, I mean, good luck with you. Because, I mean, it's a business, and the only person that doesn't realize it is the kid. Everybody else is making money. And that kid is just being churned up and filled up. And it's not a good thing. And they get up into those factories and they can't get out of them. And they cultivate them. Not only are they trying to make their skills, they're making their skills to what they need. So if you, for example, if you get on a basketball team, they're going to put you in a position that the coach needs so for him to look good. Not necessarily where you need to be at, but what makes him look.
I don't disagree with that. I think Emmanuel Stewart and them is, they're not saying the dad not to be involved at all. I think what they're saying is the dad has to have a delicate place in the career, but they're never going to accept their spot. They're going to always want to be the head. I'm the head of this shit. This is my flesh and blood. Let me be in the corner. Let me take over the corner. Let me work with this trainer. I could do this. Why that trainer get to do that? I can't do that. I could do what he does. I could do this. I could do that. They become overbearing. They don't just, they become like soccer moms. Like they can't, because they so invested into their kid and it's their flesh and blood, they just can't look from the outside and just look out on the business tip and let the trainers do what they want to do. Let the professionals take over where they're supposed to. Just look out for them on the back end. They can't do that. They got to be all in the video like P. Diddy. They got to be all in negotiations. They got to be everywhere. So I agree. The one successful father-son duo that like Ben All Positive always bring up, probably would have been Tim Zoo and Costa Zoo.
Yeah, Costa Zoo, yeah.
But that got derailed. That got derailed because of inexperience in the corner. And it wasn't even Tim Zoo's dad. Well, he's in the corner, but he ain't had nothing to do with the cuts. But still, I mean, I can go back to the father-son felon thing. The father-son duo not working out thing. And I don't want to jinx, not go with the person I feel like has the most potential right now in this current situation, All Positive. Who you think I'm for to say?
David Haney?
With father-son duo?
Yeah, David Haney. And Bill
Absolutely. Bill Haney's trash.
Who you want to say?
I was going to say Brian Norman.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, that's good.
Because I see his son do a lot of independent stuff outside of him. And I heard him say things like he got all the quit out of him when he was young. I heard him say stuff like he want him to be a man independent of him. He say the right things to where I feel like, okay, well, that's a good recipe, because if you allowing him to develop and grow and you just there to steer him in certain directions, that's what you're supposed to do as a parent. But if you dare signing the name on the contract, Kenny Porter style, what AB say, Kenny Porter, get paid and pay Sean Porter. I get paid and pay my dad. If you out there getting paid and paying your son, then it might turn out bad for you. It might turn out bad for you as the son.
Yeah. But that might be that could be the best thing for some of these kids. Like, okay, look at LeBron's son. Like, we all know that LeBron's son got on the NBA team strictly because of his dad, right? And he put him on that team.
That boy cold, Chief.
Nah, well, let's put it like this. If he had to try out for himself, he would have went to a Euro League, and he would have had to work his way into the league, right? He didn't have to do that because of his dad, right? And then he's on the team with his dad, and his dad's protecting him with the press conference and all that. I don't see nothing wrong with that, right? There ain't a lot of stuff you can leave your kid, but if you know your kid have certain deficiencies and they just not that, then I just don't see nothing wrong with it. Because like Bronny don't seem like, I don't know what he's gonna do going forward, but the grown man nickname is Bronny, bro. Like we can't act like this man ain't. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm just saying. He's a nice dude, bro. He's in the look. Put it like this: nice dudes in this situation that we talking about. Those ain't the alpha dogs or whatever people want to call it. That's not what they want, and there's nothing wrong with that. But some people want to downplay that, like as though the dad is holding them back. And in certain situations, look, even in Sean Porter, is it some fights that somebody think that Sean Porter could have won and his dad held him back or something? Anybody believe he was beating Terrence Crawford? Like, come on, man. Like, the dude he got all he can get out of his son.
I'm gonna say this, man. Bronny and everybody top 5. That man didn't need LeBron to make it to the league. That man the GOAT. That man the GOAT. But I was gonna say, father-son duos is different outside the box. I feel like this is a different sport only because it ain't governed by one single body, like we talked about earlier. One czar. There ain't a person there to just look over the corruption. What's good? What's good, brother Crush? Nobody there to supervise the corruption or any of that stuff. So it's kind of dog eat dog. So you do need somebody looking out for your best interest. And it's not good to just say, trust me, bro, to the promoters. How does that turn out? Zab Judah told a story where he had people lawyers looking over the boxing contracts, and Don King still messed them over.
I tell you, man, the great white hype. It's like you said, Samuel Jackson asked old boys like how the contracts, and he told like nobody understands them.
Yep. Yo, in the great white hype, he was like, how the contracts. That's what you just said, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he said nobody understands it.
Okay, nobody understand it. And then he was talking about like that's a traditional one. It's funny you said that because a regular lawyer wouldn't know what to look for in a boxing contract. He's not
it's like 20 pages long. Like one word can change the whole thing. One phrase can change the whole contract. You got to read every word.
Facts. So and Don King was handing out blank contracts. So, but so in this sport,
if you don't have them, Scholar, what if you don't have them? You just got the promoters and the managers. And them dudes constantly getting sued, bro.
Oh, I
The
agree.
only one that
I agree.
yeah,
They
the only
corrupt.
one that don't get sued is the guy who we never heard him talk before, but he the worst one ever. That's the only one that got that one picture from 20 years ago that everybody keeps showing. That's the only guy that's not being sued. The only guy not being sued. Everybody else gets sued, bro. And it's usually by the biggest stars. You would think the biggest stars in their camp wouldn't have to sue the promoter. But the biggest star in your camp is suing the promoter. So imagine what the low level guys get. The only one that didn't happen is the one that they kept saying was going broke for 20 years. The one that keep giving all these speeches. We got so much tape of this guy talking all the time. He just won't shut up. That's the only guy that you don't see not being sued. So you need somebody. If you don't have no father, that's what you turn them over to.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you, T. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I wouldn't. People would ask me would I get my son in a box, and I was like, absolutely not. I train him to fight, but I'm not getting him. I don't want him to take punches. There's so many other ways to make money in the sport. But as far as Tim saying ban father son duos, I don't think it should necessarily be banned, but I think it should be more regulated, more well regulated, in my opinion. Because I think it, like I said, it's going to be a tragic ending. Either it's going to end with your father messing up your career, and you holding it against them, because it's the same reason they tell you don't miss business with family. That's your father. So if your father, listen, if Mark Breland's a prime example of that. He's been with Deontay Wilder so long, and Deontay Wilder said on several occasions he like a father figure. The first time he stopped the fight that everybody felt like should be stopped, that Deontay Wilder felt like shouldn't be stopped, he he fired him as a trainer. The first time that happened.
Said a man spiked his water, all this
All
stuff,
that
man.
stuff. All that.
That's crazy.
For one disagreement. So it's like you're running the risk as a father too, as well, you know. And like I said, you got too much stuff invested, and then like, you know, so if Joseph Parker's father was his trainer for his last fight with Wardley, they would have stopped that fight a lot sooner.
I don't think
100%.
I really don't think it's a bad stoppage though.
I mean, but you got to have a rest there, bro. Like, I don't know, because Breland won his actual dad. I don't think it goes that way if that's his actual father.
Well, Trinidad and his father, Roy Jones, and his father. We just got too many cases of failed father-son duos that we have a successful ones. And even though I said Bree Norman Jr. and Senior might be the first successful one, and I don't want to jinx them because they do got a big fight coming up, that'll be one out of a 200-year sport. Like, them odds is still like against them. Crazy work against them.
For anybody listening, the reason why we're not saying Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather Sr. and Jr., because Floyd Mayweather Sr. wasn't Mayweather's trainer most of his life, so that's why we're not using that.
And also there's a clip of them fighting online. Put me out your gym, dude. Put me out. So yeah, and he came back into his career way later.
I mean, but Scholar, people, like, the odds don't got to be in your favor. Like, look, kids right now, some kids right now finna wake up in a couple hours and they finna get on the basketball and practice to go to the NBA. When the odds are insanely against them for them to even make it to college, let alone to the league. Same thing with people playing the lotto. Like, people don't care about odds, bro. They just want the opportunity to do it. And if you're the one, you don't even care about the rest of it. You only care. People selfish, bro. Ain't nobody. We're not like kumbaya by nature. People do it by convenience and what they need. You know, out of necessity. Most people ain't that blessing, bro.
Rob G said you can't regulate who someone chooses to go in business with.
Yeah, you're right. Well, you can't. If it's a bunch of dark skinned people, they find a way to regulate it.
Well, let me say this. Can you regulate who they go into business with as a father? Because that's what I think the problem is with father-son duos. They regulate everything. Oh, I don't want them to sign with this promoter. This promoter got a bad track record. I don't feel like they promoting them right. Or I don't like this. Well, I don't like Coke. I like Pepsi. I think you should do a Pepsi. And they start regulating every aspect of the bit. They start stepping into areas where they have no experience, and that's why they end up not working out. Or what happens is, in the case of Sean Porter, the one fight where Sean Porter finally decides to take control of his career and say, you know what, I'm gonna listen to myself in this fight. I'm gonna do things my way because I feel like I've earned that in the sport of boxing. and I don't want to train so hard being older, which Sean Porter was 100% right. You're supposed to take your foot off the gas. But Kenny Porter in the lead up to the fight is like, you're not going to listen to me. And the fight's going to end up getting stopped. And how ironically, the fight happens exactly how he says it, because he wanted that outcome to say, see what happens when you don't listen to me? But what Sean Porter did after the fight was telling. He retired. He retired from the sport of boxing and never came back. Then started his own podcast called The Porter Way Podcast.
But Skyler, what kind of way could he have trained to beat Terrence Crawford? I care if he was training 24 hours a day, he wasn't going to beat Terrence Crawford.
He could have survived. He wasn't going to beat
that guy, bro.
No, it ain't about beating him. It's a difference between his last fight. He didn't want to get stopped, and I feel like he earned the right to not have that happen. I feel like that was he did enough in the sport of boxing to where he deserved at least that, the benefit of the doubt, where, don't throw the towel in. But he threw the towel in because he wanted to be right. He didn't care about Sean Porter. And Sean Porter showed him after the fight because he retired. He retired from the sport. Okay, you want to do it like that? So, well, you know what? This is my last fight. I'm not going to fight in the sport of boxing anymore. I'm retiring. So he retired on some Barry Sanders stuff. Then after the fight, he brought up Barry Sanders and his father and compared to his. And he kind of was remorseful and sad about Kenny Porter didn't even show him any love in the ring after stopping the fight. He was angry at him.
Skyler, didn't he get knocked down? Oh, I was watching a different fight. He got knocked down, right?
Yeah, knockdowns happen in boxing all the time.
Yeah. So it wasn't like he was in there doing the great job right there. Like, when he get beat up, he threw himself on the ground.
No, it was close. It was closer to the knockdown.
No,
it was a close fight.
But
matter of fact, the only reason Bud ended up knocking him down is because Bud's corner told him the fight is close. You got to start taking over. That was a close fight.
When he knocked him down at that moment, he was losing. He had lost whatever closeness or whatever we want to say up until that point. He was not in control of that fight, bro. He wasn't in control of that fight at that time. So, I mean, I don't think that had nothing to do with it. I don't think he was ever going to beat. Because like you said, when Terrence Crawford decided he wanted to turn up, what could he?
All right, fellas, I'm about to be out, man. I'm finished looking at this game, man.
Hey, we know what game you finna look at.
The Spurs, man, we playing the Lakers, man. That's our rivals.
Yeah, you know what? And it's a good time to end it. I just want let me make a public service announcement, man. Homie T phone done messed up. That's probably a sign from God. Let me go put my baby to sleep. I got a busy day tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm gonna set up a live, definitely. But I want y'all to tune in because we're gonna be at the fight. Let me know what questions y'all want me to ask. The weigh-in and interviews and stuff like that.
So the weigh-in Friday, the weigh-in tomorrow, right?
Weigh-ins tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, I believe.
Well, tomorrow is Thursday.
Yeah, that's when the weigh-in is.
So the fight's Friday.
Let me see. You over here confused. Let me see.
Today is Wednesday.
Oh, Positive hit me with the old school. Tomorrow will be Thursday. Let me see. I don't see it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, here we go. It is. Yep. Okay, no, I'm tripping. So the press conference is Friday. The weigh-in is weigh-in's Friday. Oh yeah, no, I'm not tripping. So Thursday is the press conference. Friday is the weigh-in, and then Saturday is the fight.
Yeah, I figured, yeah.
Yeah, so I got stuff to So tomorrow around 3 p.m. y'all set y'all's clock because we're gonna be tapping in, and we're gonna be in that thing, So yeah, So yeah, y'all write down questions y'all want. I think I'm gonna post a complete fight card so that everybody knows who's fighting, because they got a heavyweight fight and everything. I'm gonna do my homework, and I put the members only video up of who I thought was actually gonna win. I'm leaving it members only. I'm not putting it free. I'm not giving away no more free game. I didn't give away enough. I just showed Emmanuel Stewart and today alone on today's episode. So no more free game, man. We're gonna have to learn the sport together. The game is to be sold, not told. But anyway, yeah, man. You got any final thoughts, all positive, before we get up out of here? Appreciate everybody pulling up. Rob G, Pittsburgh T, all positive. Time, RGM, my homie Jay Bliss, Angie. Who else? Did I miss anybody? Tina.
Peace and blessings, and tip your bartender. And you know what I'm waiting to hear.
Ray J. I'm surprised Ray J ain't ever did a collab with Tupac. Tupac missed out on that superstar right there.
Yo.
He missed out. But yeah, y'all make sure y'all think so too. Rob G. Y'all make sure y'all tune in tomorrow, man. I'm gonna set it up ahead of time, and we're gonna go live. Whatever happens. You know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, man, it's been a good one. It's the Boxing Scholar, and I'm out.
Superstar, wish to have a fancy car, wish to have $1 million bucks. Well, I wish I don't be in it.